to Paul Wright for San Diego, but he collides with Blast goalkeeper Scott Manning in the penalty area. The result would be, of course, a penalty kick. Zoran Karic would take it, and Scott Manning would try to stop it. But Manning wouldn't need to make a save. The Sockers' top scorer in the regular season missed. And perhaps it was an omen of things to come. Kenny Cooper and the Baltimore Blast were able to breathe a sigh of relief, but still trailed 3-1 with only moments left in the game. Now with the Blast net empty for an extra attack, a missed opportunity for Steve Jungle, as he would miss the open net, and then the Blast would run it down to the other end of the field. And Kai Huskavy would find an unmarked Billy Ronson, who scored to make it 3-2 San Diego. Now the Blast had the crowd back in the game, and they had a flicker of hope. For the Sockers, this was reminiscent of Game 2 against Dallas, when the Dallas Sidekicks came from behind to win a very important game. Then the Sockers take a penalty, and it was up to Ronson and Mobilio to tie it. Metric chasing it, keeps it in. 10 seconds left. Here's Ronson off the glass, and they tie it! Mobilio has tied it! Arena was bedlam, and the San Diego Sockers, Victor Nogueira not the least of which, were absolutely stunned. What seemed like a sure win was about to slip away. The game would go to sudden death overtime, and all the momentum belonged to the Baltimore Blast. Bruce Savage, trying to work the ball into the front of the net, had it rejected, but somehow it found Billy Ronson's foot, who put the ball in for the game winner. The most remarkable comeback in a league championship game ever. 4-3 Baltimore, the final score in overtime. Now it's on to Game 2, and the question is, can the Sockers recover from their most devastating loss ever? It's on Prime Ticket next.
Prime Ticket presents the six-time MISL champion San Diego Sockers. Exciting major indoor soccer league action is brought to you by Lowenbrau, German for the Lion's Brew, a smooth, hearty beer brewed in the spirit of the Lion since 1383. By your participating San Diego area Goodyear retailer. Nobody fits you like Goodyear. And by Seagram's Coolers. This is where the fun starts.
Baltimore's Inner Harbor is often the talk of this charming city and a favorite destination for locals and tourists alike. This is downtown Baltimore, heart of this historic city. And this is the Baltimore Arena, an arena that sits on land that once was the site of the Continental Congress Hall, where in 1776, General George Washington was conferred upon and granted extraordinary powers for the conduct of the Revolutionary War. And tonight, we are in for a battle of another kind between two tremendous rivals. From the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, Prime Ticket continues its coverage of the 1989 Major Indoor Soccer League playoffs. Tonight's MISL Championship Series continues with game number 2, as the defending champion San Diego Sockers take on the Baltimore Blast. Hello again, everyone. I'm Randy Hahn, and welcome back to Baltimore, here on Prime Ticket and on radio on the simulcast on Extra News Talk 690. Well, last night, a devastating loss for the San Diego Sockers. They were robbed in Game 1, losing 4-3 in overtime. Bill McDonald, I can't remember the Sockers ever losing such a big game in such a fashion, and they were absolutely devastated afterwards.
Well, you're right on both counts. They were disappointed because not only did they control the tempo, but they executed their game plan perfectly. They should have won the game.
The Sockers knew they'd have to stop a couple of key people. One was Billy Ronson, who they did until the last minute. The other one, Mobilio, same story, last minute.
Oh, he has been a killer to everyone around the Major Indoor Soccer League all season long, and especially here in the playoffs. He's having a great playoff series, Dominic Mobilio is. He has 11 goals. He's just doing everything absolutely right. He was in and around the goal perfectly, and he just got that game-tying goal just very, very late.
Mobilio obviously a key for the Baltimore Blast. Tied with Ronson and Rasmussen for the playoff goal lead with 11.
And he also tied the game, as mentioned last night, with 7 seconds left. Dominic Mobilio, boy, is he great in and around the box. And Dominic was as surprised as anybody that he was left unmarked at the back post.
I was very surprised that San Diego and that situation with 10 seconds to go. They're such a great team. You never expect to be open like that. It's always tough to get goals. And, you know, I've had this kind of luck all year. You know, I've been in the right place at the right time, and I've been, you know, lately I've been seeming to get the goals at the tying or in the last seconds of the game, and it's just, I hope it keeps up and I can do it a few more times.
He talks about that luck all season long. I saw him beat the Lasers twice this year on goals similar to that.
Well, of course, we know Ron Newman's a great coach. Boy, has he got his work cut out for him tonight. He's got to get the team to forget about last night's outcome, but get them to play the same style of game.
You talked about the devastation in the locker room. Boy, was it quiet. Now Ron, the master motivator, has to get his team ready to play today. We talked to him earlier, and he talked about that disappointing loss last night.
Well, it was because we felt we could have been even more than 3-1 up when they pulled the goalkeeper. The big key was to win the ball. We did. We had a couple of great chances. From one of those chances, they got the break and made it 3-2. And then I thought the key was then the sixth foul, which gave Baltimore the opportunity to get the equaliser. And we thought that was a bit hard. The dressing room was very quiet after the game.
What Ron also said is he called Kenny Cooper the luckiest man in the world, and he must have been kissing his Blarney Stones to get a win like that.
Well, the Sockers have been in tight spots before in the playoffs. Remember, it's still only one game old. We'll see if they can bounce back tonight in game number 2. The opening kickoff is coming up next. This is the Championship Series, and it's here on Prime Ticket. An extra news talk. We'll be back with the kickoff.
And welcome back to the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, as we get set for game number 2 of the MISL Championship Series. Take a look at the referees for tonight's contest. Working the floor will be S.E. Baharmist and Killymock, 2 veterans, and William Lower will be in the box tonight. Same matchup in goal tonight. It'll be Scott Manning for the Baltimore Blast. This year in the playoffs, excellent record of 5-1, goals against average of just over 3.5. Noguera once again gets the call for the Sox. He's at 500 in the playoffs at 4-4, goals against of 3.66. Starting lineups in front of the 2 keepers. First of all, for the Sockers, Wilhelms and Crow in the back. Quinn, Dougherty, and Willie up front. Dougherty and Willie played very well last night. Manning, Whitman, Savage in the back. And of course, Billy Ronson, oh, is he having a great playoff series. Sweeney and Byrne up front. These 2 teams battled it out 8 times during the regular season. Baltimore won 6 of them. San Diego only won twice. One, however, was a dominating win here on this floor during the regular season by the score of 7-1. Sockers should have won last night's game. Quite frankly, they played very well for 58.5 minutes, and then the last frantic seconds, Baltimore took it. In the playoff history for the Baltimore Blast, well, they have won 7 out of 8 playoff series after winning game number 1, and they certainly won last night in dramatic style.
And we are set to get underway with game number 2 here at the Baltimore Arena. On the simulcast, the Sockers defending the net to our right and attacking right to left. San Diego again dressed in the road navy jerseys and shorts, and the gold socks with gold and white lettering and trim. Their score uniforms from American Soccer Company. Brian Quinn playing it up to the target man, Willie. Off the wall, a chance for San Diego. Dougherty poking it back into the corner. Whitman attempting to clear. Now it's Ronson getting it out to Sweeney. Noguera ventures way out and plays a ball through the legs of Sweeney back into the midfield.
That's something we saw last night. Noguera was not hesitant to come out and play the ball across his own red line, and I think Baltimore will be cognizant of that fact, and they may try to pressure Noguera a little bit more tonight.
Here's a ball into Willie again. Turns, looks back, as he's supposed to for Dougherty. Tipped away. Now here's Ronson, among the heroes of game 1.
Randy, I expect to see a little more high-scoring game, especially in the first half tonight. These 2 teams physically and mentally drained from last night's emotional Baltimore win, and when you're tired, a lot of the times it takes toll on the defensive players as they try to react. So don't be surprised if we see a few more goals here tonight.
Don't be surprised at the changes Ron Newman has made in the lineup, too. Remember, this is a back-to-back situation as Savage kicks it out of play, and the Sockers worry about that situation with some of their older veterans, players such as Cacho and Steve Jungle. And in fact, Newman tells us not to expect to see much of Jungle at all. He wants to save him for the second half.
In fact, Jungle right now has his sweat top on, so quite obviously he is not going to see action in the initial part of this contest. You know, last night's game, strangely similar to the first game in the semifinal series against Wichita. Baltimore seemed as though they were dead, tied the game with 10 seconds left, and then won in overtime.
Here's George Fernandez as we're just a minute and a half into game 2. No score. Ralph Black playing it up for Fernandez. Now to Karich, who did score last night despite missing that penalty kick on the ensuing power play. Gave the Sockers the 3-1 lead, which we thought, especially with a minute left, would be insurmountable. Not so. And it's a night we will long remember. Here's Karich up at the line, turning off of Metric and hauled down. Chuden sets it down on the restart. Here's Fernandez a drive. That comes off the wall back to Chuden. It'll be Mobilio clearing it back up the field. We'll see more of Chris Chuden tonight, says Ron Newman. He's looking for that aggressive and that defensive work that Chris is known for. Here's Metric bringing down Karich again. And Karich, we see, is now up at the forward position, Bill, really taking Jungle's spot.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have to assert himself. The one thing that Karich has to be aware of now, don't hold on to the ball too long. If somebody's open, dish it off.
Here's Chuden into the corner for Karich. Again, Metric man-marking Zoran Karich. Back out to the point. Fernandez had trouble settling it. I think he was thinking shot. He's got a good left foot bullet from the outside. Chuden still in the forward position with Karich and Cacho now on this line, and now Chuden will chase over to the bench and make a change.
Something else to consider, the new officiating crew, Baharmas and Mock, I think may call this game a little tighter than last night. They let a lot go, did Marty Templin and Herb Silva. It didn't get out of hand physically, but a lot of the close calls that might have been fouls were not called. I think we might see a tighter called game tonight.
Which made the 6th foul called against San Diego so late in the game an unusual call by the officials in a night when they had let the fouls go. And in fact, there wasn't a 6th foul penalty until the 4th quarter.
And that's not to say that they were wrong in letting them play last night.
Talked to Ron Newman about that. Here's Valentine in the corner, stripped of the ball by Paul Wright. Now they race back to midfield. Wright, nice move, and now plays it back into the middle. 11:45 to go. Changes on both sides of the field right now as Quinn comes on for the Sockers. Quinn looking to the corner. Ralph Black will go there. Whitman tried to clear it but couldn't. Black will play it to Quinn. Now to the front for Willie. Bumps it back for Dougherty, who ran wrong side of the pass. Sweeney chipping, looking up for Freddie Thompson, too far. Now Fernandez again. He, of course, the unsung hero last year in the championship series. Don't look for a scorer to be the unsung hero because they usually get all the credit. Someone playing tight defense may have a better chance than anyone of getting that award this year. Here's McAllis across to Crow.
This is a good line that San Diego's got out there now working on.
Willie trying to settle in front. It got away from him, and Savage was there to clear it.
A surprising amount of chances, I think, for Alan Willie last night. By my count, 4 or 5 real good, excellent scoring opportunities that he controlled, and a lot of the times off the boards to himself. Some crafty moves by the veteran.
I'd have to say he and Dougherty were by far the stars of the game for San Diego. Overshadowed, however, by the final 55 seconds. Here's Quinn. Across the line. Turning out of the boards. Baltimore playing a lot closer defense in the attack zone now. But the Sockers still dominating the early going here. Not, however, with the kind of chances they had the other night. Here's Willie. Looks to the front for Dougherty. Nice step-up play by Ronson to clear it. Dougherty getting it back.
You know, it's different than last night. At the beginning of the game, it was Baltimore's half field and San Diego's counter.
McAllis in front. Willie the diving header, and Manning was there.
Oh, good work by Willie, though. Had shielded his man away from the boards and the ball, and he got a nice chance on Manning.
9:50 to go, and it appears the officials are going to let them play again tonight, and I like to see it. It's the way a championship should be decided.
Sure.
There's Chuden, and they call him a second time on the foul. That'll be the first against the Sockers.
I think sometimes the referees do get caught up in the emotion, but veteran crew again tonight with Baharmist and Mock shouldn't let it.
Another veteran, Hoskevy, on the restart, back across for Sweeney.
He didn't do too much last night, did he, Hoskevy? Except, let me make this big exception for that great pass to Ronson at the end of the game.
That was the 3-2 goal, and it's really what started the comeback and gave them a thought that they could win. Here's Ronson. Nogueira goes up high, then he heads it to the corner. Ronson is down, and the ball comes back to Nogueira. We will get a whistle, and now a handball called against San Diego. They'll bring it to the edge of the box on the restart.
They're saying that Nogueira was out of the box when he grabbed it.
Well, in that case, it should be a penalty.
And I think that's maybe what the fans are calling for right now. Unintentional, quite obviously, is what S.C. Baharmist is saying. Victor thought he was in the box.
Here's Hoskevy on the restart. Good chance for Baltimore. Fakes first time, now back to Metric, and it's blocked. Paul Wright getting in front of that. Now Quinn stepping out with Paul Wright. Wright trying to work it forward, a blind ball, and Paul Wright's got to have a little more composure in a spot like that. Turn and play that ball back if you have to. Here's Metric out of the corner, wall ball, chance in front, Mobilio right there, but it was McAllis knocking it out. Now Wright losing it again. Paul Wright getting the ball, but giving it back. That's not his job. Get the ball, but don't give it back. Out the back door, Metric from the point, shanks one high and wide. Thompson to the rebound. Still scoreless here in the first. Hoskevy right on target, but a routine save.
If you're watching on the simulcast, look for the Baltimore forwards. Every time the ball is shot on goal, a couple of them go straight to the goal, looking for a rebound. That's just good soccer. They don't lay back and try to react. They go and try to make a play.
Ralph Wilhelms with the ball now. He's out there for the first time in the playoffs. Ball up to Dougherty from Wilhelms. Paul to the corner. Mismatched there physically by Metric, but of course, Dougherty, with his size working to his advantage sometimes, draws a foul there. Here's Carriage out to Crow. Left footer just wide. And Hoskevy will play it out to Mobilio. Good job by Cacho coming back there. The reason we see Wilhelms, Ron Newman has McAllis seeing less action tonight. And again, one of those veterans who Ron feels is suffering the worst for wear on these second nights of back-to-back.
And speaking worse for wear, although it's implausible, it seems, if you weren't with us last night, you didn't hear Segota, we haven't mentioned it, is not here, of course. That hamstring bothering him. He should be ready for game 3.
Sockers played very well without Segota last night, as they did here in the regular season when they defeated the Blast 7-1. But of course, Bronco has been the hero in the playoffs already this year against Dallas in games 6 and 7. Here's Cacho on a steal with Carriage. Tip to the left, off the wall it comes to Valentine. And he'll play it out.
Carriage is upset at Cacho. He wanted that lead pass, and he's letting him know it right now.
The battle continues. The ball back in the blast zone. Manning will scoop up. Here's the outlet to Freddie Thompson. Got behind Chuden. Now Chris recovering. To Valentine at the point. Turning, bumping with Fernandez. That'll be the third Sockers foul. So they're even up now at 3 each, and we have 7:02 in the period.
Sox did a great job closing down Valentine out on the perimeter last night, and once again, Fernandez right up on his hip as soon as he comes across the red line. That's just good defense.
Valentine was not in on the scoring yesterday. Here he is in the corner. Back for Byrne. A shot up high and out of play, and this will be San Diego ball after a timeout on the field. 6:58 to go, first period. It's scoreless here in Game 2 of the MISL Championship Series. No score here in the first quarter of Game 2 of the Championship Series. Baltimore up in the series, of course, 1-0.
And we're seeing some great goalkeeping in this series, and Scott Manning, one of the veterans, has been tremendous throughout his career, especially in the clutch. All-time playoff leaders in wins. Manning ranks 7th to Zoltan Toth of the Sox. And if Manning wins tonight, quite obviously he will tie Toth with 27 wins. Then comes Lettieri, Ilievsky, Vaccaro, and of course Jimmy Gorsuch playing all those many years with the San Diego Sockers. So Scott Manning, trouble with some minor injuries towards the end of the year, came back and is playing very, very well.
He had a 3.83 goals against average in the regular season. That was his second lowest ever in this, his 10th MISL season. Here's Ronson now for the Blast as the Sockers lose it on the restart. Whitman playing with a bad ankle, but playing. Back to Ronson. Head for Byrne. Watched by Black. Tips it in front. Ronson was cut off by Dougherty, who pokes it up to Alan Willie. Willie has Quinn open at center. Finds him. Bad ball by Quinn. Cleared back, and the Blast have it. The Sockers' passing is off tonight, Bill, to some extent, as opposed to last night when they couldn't seem to make a bad pass.
And that might have a lot to do with the back-to-back games. You're just a little tired, as I mentioned, both physically and mentally, and a lot of times it just slips away and you can't get into your rhythm.
Paul Wright trying to go cross field and kicks it out of play, looking for Ralph Black. Breaking the action, still scoreless on the simulcast. Well, this is nothing new. San Diego in the finals. 1983, they beat the Blast 3-2 in a best-of-5. Then it went to a best-of-7 format in 85, beating the same Baltimore Blast. In 86, a 4-3 series as the Sockers came back from 3-1 down. Remember that one? And in 88, last year, a sweep of the Cleveland Forts.
Shouldn't have been that easy last year, but was.
They dominated after a very close Kansas City series that went the limit. Here's Valentine for the Blast in a scoreless tie. His shot is blocked by Cacho.
That's what Valentine's got to guard against, getting a little anxious and forcing shots when he's double marked.
Mobilio marked by Ralph Black. Guaranteed, Bill, they're going to give Mobilio a lot more attention tonight. Black stepping up, rejecting it. Shot from the outside by Ronson. Handled by Nogueira. Now he looks outlet to Kevin Crow. Good ball across for Hermes. Hits a left footer off the glass. That's what Wad's got to do, Bill, is let some shots go. We rarely saw his cannon last night.
Well, the Sockers in the first quarter last night were shooting from all over the field, and all of a sudden then, a little later on when they had the lead, they picked and choose their shots a little too particularly. I think they have to go back to what they were doing initially in the game last night, firing.
Nice job by Black along the wall to get that away from Ronson, but now they lose it. Here's Metric. And Cacho, for whatever reason, just blasts it out of play. They do not call it intentional, just give it back to Baltimore on the kick in.
Well, we mentioned Kai Hoskeby last night. Did not play really up to his usual brilliant self, although he did have a quietly good game. He did assist on that game, on the second goal, rather, for Baltimore, on that goal by Billy Ronson that put Baltimore back into the contest. Third in the MISL in regular season points, 600. Oh, what a milestone for number 12. And he's third in playoff history with 103 points, not too far behind, of course, Jungle and Segota. Although he does have a little catching up to do. He's next to Kenny Fogarty there on the bench, and also Slobo Ilieski, two veterans that haven't seen any action.
It's not going to catch Jungle, I don't think.
No.
Jungle came into this playoff year with 172 playoff points, and he continues to pile them on. There's Valentine, front of the goal, heads it back. Cacho will settle it there on the turnover for Karich. Karich running with Hermes. Zoran still with it. Left footer, blocked by Manning. Then Karich taken out by Freddie Thompson after the shot, and no foul called.
San Diego had some success last night on rebound shots. You might remember when Manning was down and out. Right there he went down and was on the turf.
Bad distribution by Manning, but somehow the Blast come up with it again. Here's Sweeney. To the line, shot kicked out by Nogueira. Back comes Karich to center. Nice behind the back for Chuden. Here's Chris across the line. To the corner now where he's pinned in by Sweeney. Now Thompson coming in for double team. Chuden shoots it into Thompson. Keeps it alive along the glass. 4:10 to go in the opening period of a scoreless tie. Handball, but they don't whistle it down. Karich looking backdoor again for Quinn this time. Sockers have it pinned in that Baltimore zone, but can't get a shot directed at net. Finally, back to Nogueira. Victor plays it up the open right side. Away from Karich, however. Whitman's got it, and Karich will chase off and make a change.
Immediately you saw the high pressure being applied by Dominic Mobilio. When Victor Nogueira got control of the ball, that's something that they're going to have to do.
Here's Hoskeby. Kai at center. Has Metric at his left, and he'll push it across. Good crowd on hand here tonight in Baltimore. I'd have to say everybody who was here yesterday is back. If they aren't, what's wrong with them? Take their pulse to see if they're still breathing.
I think they spent the night here.
Here's Nogueira. Looking for Willie and finding him. Now Willie trying somehow to work it in front. Gets it to Dougherty, leaves it, and Quinn shot on target. Nice move by Dougherty to let that go through. Quinn, I think, gave a shout to Paul. Said, hey, let it go, I'm trailing. And the Sockers with a scoring chance, but Manning with the save. Down to 2:50 to go here in the first period. Fernandez comes to center. Left foot pass up to Willie. Gets by him. Dougherty after the loose ball. In front, Fernandez settling it. Quinn shoots and scores! And the Sockers take the lead. And a nice play all the way around. So as they did in game one, the Sockers strike first. It's San Diego 1, Baltimore nothing in game two.
The mighty Quinn with his second goal of the playoffs, and the Sockers on top 1-0 with 2.5 to play in the first quarter. And I think the best player for the Sockers so far in this playoff series has been Paul Dougherty, and he keeps it alive as he's triple teamed in the corner, out to Fernandez, off to Quinn, who just fires it over the right shoulder of Manning. Manning says, give me some help. Well, hey, Scott, try for it. Here's a shot out on top by Quinn, who just lets it go. I think he thought maybe his defender in front might have stopped it, but all Manning did was wave goodbye to that one. It was in the back of the net, a seed off of the foot of Brian Quinn, and it's 1-0 Sockers. Great play by Dougherty to set it all up.
Brian Quinn in his 5th MISL season. He's been in every championship series the Sockers have played in, this being their 5th in this league. And a couple more in the NASL. Ball out of Paul Wright, and it'll come back for Baltimore. Kenny Cooper obviously absolutely elated with the outcome last night. His team was outplayed, I think he'll admit, for 59 minutes. And then in the last minute, the most important, it came alive.
I still detect the smirk on the face of Kenny Cooper. He can't believe it himself.
Well, of course, Kenny Cooper suffered many a painful night at the hands of Ron Newman and the Sockers, not the least of which was that 14-2 thrashing in the playoffs here back in 1985, a night they'll never forget. And I suppose it was a little bit of a payback last night, certainly not a blowout, but maybe even more painful. Here's Hermes dribbling toward goal. It comes to Karich on the rebound. And the Sockers starting to show the kind of life they had last night. Outplaying Baltimore without a doubt right now. But Hermes will commit the 4th foul on the wall, and now the Sockers 2 fouls away from a 6th foul, but only 1:50 left in the period. We're not seeing a lot of Hermes. That was another change Newman had planned, using Hermes as the defensive runner, at least in the early going.
I think you got to play Waddy up front.
Well, I think that Newman was not happy with Hermes' play last night. Here's a chance for Wilhelms on a feed from Karich. That was not a bad opportunity at all for the defender, who heads it high. Now Thompson trying to get it free of midfield for Baltimore. Ahead to Savage. And a good block by Cacho, then through the legs. Now a 2-on-2. Here's Cacho, dribbled just a little too far, trying to lead himself on that ball. Taken back by the Blast. Down to 1:13 to go in the period, but Cacho's there again, and Cacho's looking sharp here. Chance for the Blast. Ronson down the left side. In front for Byrne, and Ronson works it back to center. Karich there all alone. Now he has support. Crow on the left. Zorin weaving his way in from the red line, still with it to the corner. Black will chase, whacks away at it. It's loose, and Manning's got it. The outlet to Byrne. Nogueira venturing out of the goal. Here's Byrne closing his Chuden and Quinn. They can afford a foul here, but they don't take it. They get it back.
That's something we really haven't seen much in the first game and throughout the first period of this one. Up and down soccer. It's been pretty controlled. The tempo has not been boring, but it has lacked down a little bit. And right there, a couple of up and downs by both teams.
Here's Dougherty with a steal. Still lots of time. In front to Willie. Off the wall. Getting the rebound is Dougherty. But then on the second effort, Ronson comes in, and it's a foul, San Diego.
Willie is still fooling the Blast with that play off the boards to himself. I don't think they've learned quite yet. And Alan Willie going to continue to use it.
Sockers on the foul limit now. Just 10 seconds left, though. They'll try and work it up for a forward man. And the foul called this time the other way. David Byrne throws the elbow at Fernandez as they go up.
That's a good play by George, because he took a little bit of a chance going up and over Byrne.
Now 7 seconds. And Nogueira will just kill the clock here. Takes a look up, and he'll just lob it upfield. So that is the end of the first period of play.
Shows you what I know, Randy. I thought it'd be high scoring, 1-0, just like last night.
Now let's pause for a moment so that our stations can identify themselves. Tomorrow, the top racquetball players in the United States will gather in Houston to slug it out for the U.S. National Singles Championship. Exclusive coverage begins at 5 on Prime Ticket, sports television at its best. We're at the end of a period here in Game 2. It's the Sockers 1, Baltimore nothing on Prime Ticket and Extra News Talk. This series moves back to the West Coast after tonight. Game 3 on Friday, the 3rd, then Sunday, Game 4, and if necessary, and you can bet the Sockers are hoping if necessary, Game 5 on Tuesday, the 6th. Tickets for all those games are on sale now at the Sports Arena box office and all Ticketmaster locations. If you have a major credit card, you can buy your tickets over the phone. Call 619-278-TIXS, and we'll see you at the Sports Arena beginning Friday, Bill.
I will be there to take it all in, and Ron Newman sticking to his guns in that first quarter, not playing Steve Jungle, resting him, hopefully for the second half, just as Segota is resting back home, gearing up for Game 3 Friday in San Diego. And when you talk about success, well, Ron Newman really spells it out. All-time playoff coaching wins, Newman with 49, and we're seeing the number 2 man here, also Kenny Cooper in all his years in the MISL with 40. Timo Liakowski at 27, a distant third.
Cooper added one more notch to his playoff victory belt last night. That may be the biggest notch on his belt, maybe next to the championship they won back in '84. But indeed a sweet victory for Kenny Cooper. Here's a chance for the blast on a terrible miscue by McAllis, who struggled last night in the fourth quarter, and on one of his first shifts tonight makes a near disastrous play in his own end. Back the other way comes Hermes. Gus trying to make amends here. Nice ball to the front of the net for Wright, but that's rejected.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Gus. He was the one that allowed Ronson to get behind him for the second goal.
Here's Hermes out of the corner, right on target. And Manning goes to the short side to scoop up the ball.
Well, Waddy obviously brought his ammunition tonight. He's not afraid to shoot, especially from that left wing side where he has that cannon.
Hermes, of course, has much motivation after missing a couple of opportunities at the empty net last night.
You know, it's interesting. Ron Newman said, how can you get mad at Waddy for all the great things he's done? I mean, at the time, you're saying, how can you miss that? But I guess you're entitled to miss one or two throughout your career.
Chuden doing a lot of hard work, finally giving it away. Back comes Valentine. Chuden buys the fake. The shot is kicked out, I believe, by Nogueira. It'll come back to center.
Blast trying to cause some traffic in front of Nogueira and possibly get a screenshot. Mobilio and Ronson in front, trying to cause trouble.
Here's Byrne. Nice dribble to keep it away from Chuden. Now to the open right point side for Whitman. Comes out to Paul Wright. He's brought down. Boy, the official reached down for his penalty card there, but didn't pull it. Kelly Mock was going to give 2 minutes there. We've not seen a 2-minute penalty given for an infraction so far in this series. Of course, we've seen the penalty kick and the 6th foul penalty last night, but no tripping or anything of that nature in the open field, at least.
We saw 2 players go off for arguing with each other the other day, last night.
Here's McAllis. Sends it in deep for Quinn, who has the only goal of the game thus far. Quinn trying to play it on the bounce, went behind Byrne, tips it in front for Dougherty, got ahead to it, but it's picked up by Manning. He looks deep for Ronson. 2 men back for San Diego as Ronson blasts it off the glass. McAllis, good play, chests it down for Nogueira. 12:57 to go, second period. Dougherty to the red line. A shot, Manning with the save of the game so far. Diving to his right. That one was headed in.
Well, we saw a numerical advantage for San Diego because Sweeney had pushed all the way up. And he's really playing back in this formation. Now Hoskevy is. Hoskevy playing defender on Karich.
Sockers continuing to dominate this game. Now 3 minutes into the second period. They lead at 1-0. Here's Karich, poked away by Hoskevy. Sweeney gives it right back to San Diego, and the Blast are making a lot of midfield mistakes. Wilhelms coughs it up to Thompson. Now into Sweeney. Watch for Thompson as he goes to the net, but Sweeney can't get it free. Good work there by Crow.
I'm real interested in this move, playing Hoskevy in the back. He is not at the midfield. He is not up. He's playing back with Whitman right now.
Byrne with an opening, quickly closed. Now Hoskevy will launch from beyond the red line. It's blocked. Karich trying to hit the up man Dougherty. Hoskevy sending it back for Valentine. Now Hoskevy burrowing his way toward the goal. Collides with Nogueira. The ball now belonging to Karich. See if he can finesse his way out of trouble. Gets it free. Has Cacho, but holds it.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why it makes sense for Hoskevy to play in the back. San Diego's been playing high pressure and forcing the defenders to bring it up, and they want Hoskevy handling the ball.
Wilhelms commits a foul up at the red line long after the ball had left the area. Not a good foul. First against San Diego. Here's Whitman. Goes by Cacho. Off the wall it comes. Takes a funny carom off the boards here at the Baltimore Arena. Back down to Valentine at the point. The shoulder fake, but then it's cleared by Wilhelms up the middle of the field.
Game's changed a little bit. Now the half field is being controlled by Baltimore.
Long relay up the right side. This is Mobilio for Valentine. Wilhelms in the way. Knocks it down and plays it up to Crow. Now the Sockers breaking out 3-on-2. Karich with Crow and Chuden. Karich works his way by Freddie Thompson, trying to wind for a shot, but Thompson stayed with it. Now Chuden looking for a line change, plays it to Black. Sockers will hold it in the back here and get some fresh people on. Now Quinn almost losing it to Mobilio, does find Hermes. Obstruction there by Savage, not called, but the Sockers get it back. Fernandez laying it off right side for Ralph Black. 10:28 in the second period. It's 1-0 Sockers on the Quinn goal. Hermes trying to set up Alan Willie, but it goes back for Manning.
Sockers trying to use a little deception in the half-field game, really setting some picks.
Chance for Ronson on that ball that bounced right to him sweetly at the left side. Couldn't get enough on it, though. Nogueira also came out to cut off the angle. Ball played into the corner. Nogueira forced to come out again. Now Sweeney sets it down for Billy Ronson as the Blast try and get something set up, but they've not had many scoring opportunities so far.
Well, they haven't. That's one thing. Nogueira coming out. Neither goalkeeper has really made a bad decision as of yet in the brief series.
Savage, chased by Willie, pushes it across for Metric. Mark Metric, a rookie. No doubt to receive some consideration as Rookie of the Year. Here's Brian Quinn. Quinn plays it out for Karich as he and Willie make a quick change. Now Quinn at the line, back in front for Karich, and it was knocked back by Savage. Good defense there. If Karich gets a walk-in on goal, it's him against Manning, and you don't like that matchup if you're Manning. Kicked out by Fernandez over the far side, and we have a break in the action here with 9:10 left in the second period. 1-0 Sockers on Prime Ticket and Extra News Talk. Well, Ron Newman and the Sockers with a 1-0 lead over Baltimore here at Bill McDonald. I'd have to think Newman's pretty happy the way the Sockers have bounced back after all the devastation.
Well, if he was happy last night at the beginning of the game, he's going to be happy tonight because it's very similar to game one action. Sockers on top 1-0, and see if they suffer another letdown towards the end of the half like they did last night. That really hurt them.
Black trying to chase it down. I think he put Hoskeby on his way to that ball, and Hoskeby goes to the Baltimore bench holding his nose. Back comes Crow to Karich on the right, and a shot into the seats. Karich had to take a crack at that. If he hits it on target, it's all kinds of problems for Manning. Karich capable of scoring on that type of a play.
But he's got to realize that he shouldn't carry the entire burden on his shoulders. He's still young, 27 goals in 87-88, 37 goals in 88-89. He realizes that Jungle's on the bench and Segoda's not here, and sometimes he thinks, hey, I've got to do it myself. He's got all the talent in the world. He just has to channel it a little better, and I think he really has been. It doesn't look like he's holding on to it too much tonight.
He's shown me a lot in the playoffs as far as getting the emotional side of his game under control, and while he has occasionally slipped into his old patterns, he is turning a new leaf of sorts.
And you know what? He didn't pout when Ron Newman put him on the bench and did not even suit him up for one of the games in Dallas. And I got to commend him for that, for coming back strong.
He's showing more of the maturity that he needs to show. Here's Crow back for Victor Nogueira. 8:20 to go here, second period. We're on the simulcast in Baltimore, where the Sockers are hoping to even up this series tonight. Here's Dougherty from the right side, chips a ball far post. Nobody was there for San Diego. If that was a shot, it was a bad miss kick. Crow back to Nogueira, and over to Crow again. Victor outside of the right foot, nice ball to Karich, who heads it across the midfield. Valentine trying to collect it, and he'll get it back to Manning. Here's Mobilio with the tying goal last night. 20 years old, out of Vancouver, Canada. That time trying to slip it through for Ronson. It was a good yard or two back of the ball.
You know, we haven't really talked about the distribution of these goalkeepers, but if both teams continue to play high pressure, San Diego is right now, that is going to be an important factor for these teams' offenses. Manning will not be able to dump it off to his defenders to bring it up. He'll have to fire it out to midfield, and his accuracy, of course, will dictate how well Baltimore does.
Handball, but they let it go. Here's Hermes trying to get it back for Willie. Crow gambles, takes it to the corner, plays it back in front, but between his two forward players, Hermes and Willie, and Whitman has it back again for the Blast. 7 minutes to go here in the second period. Hope you're enjoying our simulcast on Prime Ticket and Extra News Talk. Game 3 coming up Friday at the San Diego Sports Arena. Here's a wall ball, chance in front for Ronson off Burns' play. Now Willie didn't see Whitman coming, got little help from his teammates as well to warn him, but a foul blast, and that's their second. David Byrne loses one of those trademark red shoes of his, puts it back on.
Finally matches his uniform. Didn't quite do it in Minnesota last year. A little bit of a fashion clash.
Among those on the Baltimore team attempting to make a fashion statement of sorts, the other would have to be Tim Whitman, who basically changes his haircut about every other day.
At least we don't have Wes McLeod to kick around anymore with those tassels.
Kevin Crow, hands down the favorite for Defender of the Year. The MISL Annual Championship Luncheon, by the way, coming up on Thursday in San Diego, where they will name MVP and Defender of the Year. I can't imagine Crow not winning it. Can you, Bill?
Well, stranger things have happened, but he certainly is the front runner. As I mentioned, he had such a great year leading this team. I think he'll win it.
Sockers had the best defense in the MISL this year, and of course Nogueira had the best goals against. Here's Karich up in midfield. Look at him work against 3 players. Finally hauled down by Hoskevy. Quinn wants 2 minutes. They're not giving any 2-minute penalties in this series, apparently.
You know, quickly a tag on the Kevin Crow and the Defender of the Year. Chico Moreira, of course, had a great year. Bruce Savage annually has a good year. And, you know, Joe Waters, Mike Powers, the defenders, they don't generate much offense. And with Crow's big numbers offensively, I think that's going to sway a lot of the votes.
Crow was able to do it with both sides of the game this year. His best offensive season ever, but his defense never suffered. Here's Quinn. Nice ball up for Hermes. It's poked out, and they'll give it to San Diego. They say Whitman touched that last. First, though, we have a timeout on the field. 1-0 San Diego. 5:42 to go here, second period. 1-0 San Diego leading Baltimore. We have 5:42 left to go here in the second period. Talk about Kevin Crow, a 5-time All-Star Bill McDonald. 36 points this year, and he still had the defense, 114 blocks.
Well, you got to compare that 36 points to his first 4 years, 28 goals, 42 assists, 70 points. So you can just see the tremendous production that he had this year comparatively, and I think with Clavillo gone, it was really his defense.
Here's Black chasing one into the zone now. So is Savage. He'll try and come out with it. We have Jungle on the field now, I believe, Bill, for the first time in the game. Here's Cacho, looks for Jungle. Alan Willie also out there running on the front line. Cacho keeping it alive in the midfield, and he's done a job so far tonight. Back comes Willie, off the wall. Steve Jungle there, but wrong side of the ball. Good job by Valentine cutting him off. Steve keeping it going, back to Cacho at the line. He'll turn away from Savage and play it to Fernandez.
Well, what you've got now is Jungle breaking a little bit of a sweat and getting loose here in the first half.
Willie hits one wide. Rebound comes over to Black. 1-0 Sockers. They lead it here in the second period. Steve backdoor for Willie. Well, Billio's there. And now he'll toe poke it ahead, looking for Savage. Again, Cacho on the spot. Cacho was used sparingly last night, so he should be pretty fresh, and he looks it. Here's Jungle. Has Karich with him, holding off the defender Metric. Now poked back for Fernandez. Quinn calling for it. He gets it. You may be able to hear him in the background there on our field mics. Quinn has that high-pitched voice, and when he wants the ball, you can hear him squawking away. Fernandez into the open corner. Quinn had backed out. I think Fernandez thought he might have gone deep. Jungle, good play along the wall. Some physical action there to get the ball loose. Now it comes to Black at the right point.
Physical and deliberate right now.
Here's an overlap to Hermes. The shot, he scores! Juan Hermes had just come off on a great line change, Bill McDonald. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, and it's 2-0. A Hermes goal gives the Sockers a 2-0 lead. 4:03 left to go here in the second period on Prime Ticket.
Juan Hermes continues to lead San Diego in playoff goals. He now has netted his 8th, and it's 2-0 Sockers. Great ball by Blacken. You hear us mention running to open space, and that's exactly what Hermes did. His 3rd good opportunity on the left wing side, and this time he blazed it home. But give Black credit. The key here is he put tremendous pace on this ball. Just a perfect ball to Hermes, who could strike it in full stride and ram it home. Hey, Ralph Black just says, hey, all in a day's work. Why do you celebrate? 2-0 Sockers, and the crowd gets a little anxious.
So the Sockers now with a 2-goal lead. They did not have a 2-0 lead last night. It was 1-1 before they went ahead 3-1. Ball out now, and the Blast will have a decent kick-in opportunity. Far side of the San Diego defensive third of the field.
But let's remember they did have a 2-goal lead, and that was so late in the game. So they're looking for more.
Hoskevy stands over it. Chuden watching him. Back it comes to Sweeney. And Crow steps up, side of the penalty area to get it back for San Diego. Here's Paul Wright on the run with the speed, with the shot, and it's just wide about 4 or 5 feet, but Chuden was a little late getting to the far post. I don't know if Wright's trying to score there or set it up.
Paul's got to realize nobody's going to beat him down the floor. Who's going to be at the back post? You got to shoot it if you blaze that quickly.
I think it was a shot. He just miskicked it. Here's Byrne, but the Sockers back defensively in numbers. The shot deflected wide. McAllis, nice wall ball. Here's a 3-on-2 developing. Chuden with Crow on the right. Kevin traps it, and then he stood up at the front of the box, and there's not a foul. Here's Dougherty with a blast into the goalkeeper Manning. Dougherty then following through, kicks Manning. Manning down. We have a San Diego foul.
Dougherty everywhere. Good second effort, and that should have been an obstruction call. You're right, Randy, as Crow was stood up. This may be the most important portion of this game. Remember last night, Baltimore scored at the end of the half, and it gave them something to feel good about going into the half. Sockers, if they can go in 2-0, will be looking good. Here's that last sequence. Chuden will bring it back for Dougherty. Great ball. Dougherty then, just with the flick of the foot, got it past Ronson, and then on the continuation play, ran into Manning.
Clipped him in the left arm. He's all right. Manning, that is. Plays the ball up to Ronson now in midfield as we are getting one more look at it on the simulcast. Here's Byrne. 2:45 to go. Second period. It's 2-0 San Diego. Goals by Quinn and Hermes. Byrne. Trying to spin off Fernandez. Plays it back to the point. Cross now to Hoskevy. Karich up there to work on him. Hoskevy losing it for a moment. Now it comes free to Cacho, and Cacho isn't sure what to do with it. Dangerous spot here for the Sockers, but Cacho gets the break he needed. The ball comes back to him. Karich hammered by Mike Sweeney, and we're going to get another foul. It'll be against Baltimore. It's their 4th, so they now move to within 2 of the penalty.
Quick lesson learned by Cacho. When you're in your own zone and you have 3 players around, don't get cute, just clear it out. And when he had a second chance a couple seconds later, it's exactly what he did.
Don't dribble it when you're behind that line, or at least that close to it. So now it's San Diego ball just across their own red line. 2:18 to go here in the first half. 2-0. Coming up at halftime, we will visit with the Sockers chairman of the board, Ron Fowler. Here's Fernandez up for Jungo. Back for Fernandez. And Nogueira wants a timeout, San Diego, and he will get it with 2:02 to go.
You know, a little bit of a controversy in last night's game, why the Sockers did not call a timeout late in the game. 30 seconds left, up by 1, and less than 30 seconds left. And
evidently, Ron Newman wanted a timeout, told George Fernandez as he was heading onto the field after the 3-2 goal, take a timeout when we get a chance. Fernandez told Quinn. Then there was a disagreement between Quinn and Crow as to whether or not they wanted a timeout. I don't know where the disagreement is. The coach wants the timeout. They didn't take the timeout, and it could have been the factor that helped lead Baltimore back and to eventually win. Well, again, this series moving back to the sports arena on Friday, but next year the Sockers will be back at the sports arena for the 1989 season, and season tickets are available now. A $50 deposit will get you a seat for next year. Just call the Sockers office at 224-4625 for information on available seating and prices, or stop by an information table when you're at Friday's game 3 of this series.
You know, Randy, I think Baltimore came out a little flat tonight. Still riding last night's game. I think maybe they thought that that emotion would carry them over to this game, and maybe San Diego would be hanging their heads. And that is not the case at all. And the Blast, if they're going to get back in this game, I think are going to have to wake up. San Diego's dominated.
She seems confident there.
She's woken up. I want to know who's eating all those peanuts.
Sockers ball, top of the box, and Nogueira will look upfield for Alan Willie. Sockers would like to try and draw a couple of Blast fouls here. Here's Nogueira. Up to Willie. Back for Brian Quinn. Freddie Thompson chipping it back for Valentine, but Black is there defensively.
But Black's done a solid job, hasn't he? Hasn't really made many mistakes. And he had that last assist.
Crow off the corner of the boards, back to Nogueira. Now Kevin will get it with 1:24 to go. Blast on the 4 fouls, so they're not in the delicate situation yet of trying to stay away from a penalty. Willie after it, shoved by Metric, and they will give the 5th Blast foul. So now Baltimore in a precarious situation here. They're on 5 fouls. They're still 1:14 in the period, and they're down 2-0. You don't want to face a power play coming out in the 3rd period. That's when Baltimore will need to rally. Here's Jungle on the restart to Ralph Black off the sharp angle and the glass. It comes to Savage off the boards, and he'll clear it out. It'll come back San Diego ball on a kick in, and this will be close enough to the corner kick spot that it'll result in a pretty decent free kick opportunity. Jungle will stay out there. Quinn is right now over the ball. Newman makes a change. On comes McAllis, who offers them an outside shot. Crow is also out there who can shoot, and of course Carriage at the top of the box. So an opportunity here in the dying minute of the 2nd period. McAllis drops it back for Quinn. Obviously there was a play of some kind on that didn't work out. Here's Carriage. He'll launch from long distance. It's blocked. McAllis trying to keep it alive. Comes free to Jungle off the boards. Carriage trying to play it outside. Does to Quinn. Spinning ball. Quinn controls to Carriage. Shoots, and Manning saves it. Rebound. McAllis. And it's in the goal or out. What's the play? No goal. The Sockers are screaming that it was inside the net. Jungle was inside the goal and felt the ball was too. Now Carriage a drive. Hits the referee. McAllis off the glass, and it's pinball in the Baltimore zone. Crow gets back for it. Sends it right back in. Manning up in the air. Free ball. Jungle to Carriage, and it went through his legs. Zorin battling for it. Tripped up in the corner. No foul. Tried to buy one there. He took a dive. And now Valentine with 15 seconds left to burn, as the Blaster now just going to be happy to get out of this period without giving up another goal. And it looked so close to one down at the other end a moment ago. Burn with 3 seconds left, and they're going to run out the clock here in the 1st half. Well, Scott Manning facing a barrage in the final seconds. A ball that seemed to be in the net. Jungle was back there in the goal, screaming for the light to come on, but it didn't. Another look at it on the simulcast. This is Brian Quinn over to Carriage. Carriage decides to shoot left foot. Manning makes the save, and now it comes back out to the right. McAllis will run onto it, and it hit Manning in the back. Did it go into the goal or not? Well, it's up in the air. He bats it away. It hits somebody and comes out. Jungle says it crossed the plane of the goal, but the goal judge doesn't agree. Another look at it from a much better angle on the simulcast. There's the save by Manning. Now watch it hit the boards and then hit Manning in the back. There's the ball, and did it cross? I don't think so. Manning reached back in time. Of course, when the ball's in the air, that's an imaginary plane, and a tough call either way. Well, the scoring in the 1st quarter, Brian Quinn, his 2nd of the playoffs from George Fernandez at 12:23. Then Hermes with a blast that beat Manning from Ralph Black at 10:57. And through 2 periods of action here in Baltimore in Game 2, it's the Sockers 2, the Blast nothing. This is the MISL Championship Series on Prime Ticket. Back in Baltimore, we're at the half of game 2, and the Sockers lead the Blast by a score of 2-0 here on the simulcast. Of course, this is the second exciting series the Sockers were involved in this playoff year. They played Dallas in the semifinals and had to rally with an exciting 6th and 7th game. 10 days ago, the road-weary San Diego Sockers returned to the sports arena, down 3-2 in their best-of-7 semifinal series with the Dallas Sidekicks. And home had been kind to the Sockers in the past when facing elimination, but was the mystique still alive in '89? Well, early on, San Diego was playing on another level. Steve Jungle would score a late first-period goal, one of the prettiest of his storied career, and the Sockers would jump ahead of Dallas 2-0 in their effort to stay alive. But then the Dallas Sidekicks would begin to make the mistakes that they had been known to avoid earlier on the series, and that the Sockers had in fact been guilty of. Mike Powers, with some help on the pressure from Chris Chuden, would give the ball away in front of the net to Wad Hermes. His 6th playoff goal through the legs of Sobieski, and San Diego led 3-0. But then the pesky Sidekicks would rally, as they had throughout the year and really throughout their history. Michael King's goal here late in the 3rd period made it 3-2 San Diego, and the Sockers would need to reach back and find a little bit extra, or Dallas may come back all the way. And not surprisingly, Bronco Segota had the answer. He would score 2 key goals. Early in the 4th, taking a pass from his goalkeeper, Victor Nogueira, and doing all the rest alone with a well-placed left foot shot. That had the Sockers faithful thinking that there in fact could be a Game 7 in this series. And less than 2 minutes later, Segota made sure of it. Taking the ball off the wall, Bronco would do the rest by himself again. After working free, a shot that deflected in, and the outcome was no longer in doubt. The Sockers cruised to a 7-2 victory over Dallas, and there would in fact be a 7th game. And now the Sockers had the city on their side. Nearly 12,000 filling the sports arena for the deciding game of the series. And what they witnessed was a defensive gem for San Diego. Great blocking by the defense in front of Victor Nogueira. They collectively were flawless. For Dallas, goalkeeper Joe Papaleo also figured prominently, keeping the league's top-scoring team in the regular season off the board for most of the night. But then it was time, thanks to the fans in part, for Bronco Segota to emerge once again. On the power play, playing despite a pulled hamstring, Segota would plant a seed into the top left-hand corner of the Dallas net. It would be the only goal of a thrilling game. And then Victor Nogueira would preserve for himself a rare shutout and even rarer in postseason play. Nogueira would finish the contest with 8 saves, his first ever shutout in the playoffs, and the Sockers would beat Dallas by a score of 1-0. The mystique was still alive. The building was wild, and the Sockers would go to the championships in 1989.
Quite a comeback for the San Diego Sockers. We're getting used to that in San Diego history, down in playoffs and coming back and usually coming out on the top end. Our score at halftime, the Sockers on top of the Baltimore Blast in game number 2 of this championship series by the score of 2-0. Pleased to have with us the other Ron of the San Diego upper brass. This is the owner of the San Diego Sockers, Ron Fowler. And Ron, that was a great series against Dallas. You hope for more against Baltimore, but you yourself gave a little pep talk to the boys before game number 6 in the Dallas series, didn't you?
I'd say that's accurate. We had a few issues that I thought had to be addressed. One, we didn't play with the type of intensity that we were capable of during the first 5 games, and I felt they'd quit a little bit, and I think they'd lost their confidence. So we had a little session where we explained to them what we expected from champions, and they went out the last 2 games and played like the champions they are.
And again, they're responding like champions tonight after that devastating loss, leading 2-0.
Well, we saw them play 59 minutes of dominant soccer last night, but it's a 60-minute game, and they needed the other 60 seconds, and hopefully tonight we're going to get it.
It's a 60-minute game unless Earl Foreman changes the rules. He says he's going to look at them all for next year. Now, you being on a road trip is really not an unfamiliar sight. At the beginning of your tenure here with the San Diego Sockers, you and Ron Cady went around to all the other venues around the league and looked at how everybody else ran their operations, and I think you learned quite a bit from that. And now you're running the San Diego Sockers really with a lot of the same things that a lot of the other people were doing.
we tried to pick and choose from the various cities, and we felt that there were some ideas that would work for us, some that wouldn't. But I think the survey of the league helped us to get things off the ground quickly, and I'm encouraged by what we've been able to accomplish, especially in the last half of the season this year.
Talking about getting off the ground, the league has to do it again with a new commissioner, Earl Foreman. Your thoughts on him?
Well, Earl was involved in a conference call today with Bill Kentling, sort of a transition call, and I've had probably 8 conversations with him on the phone. I'm very impressed with the way he's taking hold, and I think he's going to be a strong commissioner, and I think that's what this league needs at this state of its development.
I wouldn't call this time in the Major Indoor Soccer League pessimistic. Everybody looking optimistically now at what's going to happen next year. A little bit of insight on how things are going as far as other teams entering and really the state of the Major Indoor Soccer League.
Well, if this is spring, it must be chaos in the Major Indoor Soccer League, and nothing's changed in that regard. We see the cup as half full versus half empty. We have some problems with some of the franchises, but I think we'll have a pretty good resolution of those problems within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
The major goals in the off-season for the San Diego Sockers.
Well, our major goal is to get a little more speed on the team, and from a team standpoint, and we've talked to Coach Newman about that. Secondly, we obviously need to get some stronger advertisers, and the third thing is we have to sell more season tickets during the summer.
Ron, thanks for the visit. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ron Fowler, the owner of the San Diego Sockers, joining us here at halftime. And our halftime score, Sockers trying to come back after that big loss last night. They lead 2-0.
We're back in Baltimore as our halftime show continues here on Prime Ticket and Extra News Talk. Randy Hunt along with Bill McDonald back in our studios here downstairs at the Baltimore Arena. Well, a great first half of the San Diego Sockers. Bill McDonald, I hate to say it, but reminiscent of last night's game in the way that the Sockers played. Second half, it can't possibly happen again, can it?
Well, it might. You never know. Ron Fowler said last night that his team played 59 minutes of great soccer. Well, so far they played 30 minutes of great soccer. And my hats are off to Ron Newman and the entire team for not hanging their heads and coming out strong here in this game.
In the first moment or so, the Sockers were a little on edge, but then they kicked it into gear and started putting the scores on the board. And Brian Quinn began it with a nice shot, only his second playoff goal.
Well, Dougherty made some good things happen in the corner. Played it off to Fernandez, straight off to Quinn, who buried it from just outside the corner of the box. For Quinn, you mentioned he hasn't had the production this playoff series as he had in the past, but he's still working very hard in the midfield. His second goal to the playoffs, that was a 1-0 Sockers lead. And then a great play for San Diego, especially off of the foot of Ralph Black, who took a pass at the red line, faked right, went left, and then laid a perfect ball to the left wing side with his left foot to Wad Hermes, who ran onto open space. He had a couple of good chances in that exact area earlier in the contest. This time he drove it past a sprawling Scott Manning. For Waddy, his 8th goal to the playoffs. He leads the San Diego Sockers in that department, and it was 2-0 San Diego. That's where we are at the half.
And the goalkeepers took over after that, or in the midst of all of that. Victor Nogueira, of course, was the greatest goalkeeper in the regular season for San Diego. Comes up with a big save here in front of the San Diego defense. He shut them out through 30 minutes of play, and he had a great game last night, except for the last minute, and I guess we can say that for the whole San Diego Sockers team. I can't help but think that there are lingering remnants of last night's loss in the minds of the San Diego Sockers, and they may creep in the second half. They've got to guard against it.
Well, yeah, I think so, but I think Baltimore needs a wake-up call. I think they're still thinking about their great win last night, saying, hey, what a great win. We're celebrating. We're going to come marching right in here and beat San Diego again. I think we'll see a quicker, more energetic Baltimore team in the second half.
Second half of Game 2 coming up right after this. It's 2-0 San Diego here on Prime Ticket and Extra News Talk.
Back at the MISL Championship Series, game number 2. Sockers on top at halftime by the score of 2-0. Get a chance to look at the pertinent numbers of that first half of action. As we take a look at the stats, shots on goal, San Diego out shooting Baltimore by a wide margin, 15-8. Blocks are even at 4. 9 saves for Manning, 4 for Nogueira. Nobody had a power play in the first half.
Back to the action now, 14:53 left early here, and it's Hermes with a shot and another drive, and he scores. And the Sockers come out and score the first goal, Bill, exactly what the Blast didn't need.
Oh, exactly. We said they needed a wake-up call. Now they're in a deep sleep. Down 3-0. Great play by the Sockers, just 12 seconds into the third quarter, and it's Hermes again. And give him credit, it came on the rebound with the other foot. As he was sprawling to the Baltimore turf, he put it past Scott Manning. Work out in front, the ball came free. Hermes hit it with his left foot, then he immediately went over and turned and wheeled and fired, and I don't think Scott Manning was ready for that shot again. That was Kevin Crow that kept it alive in the corner. Crow headed it to Willie. Then Willie will get it for Crow, back heel, and Manning is just all over the place, never really set. Whitman can't get back defensively, and Hermes tucks it in the near post. 3-0 San Diego. Waddy's 9th goal to the playoffs and his 2nd goal tonight. Sockers in charge.
Unassisted, of course, unless you can give yourself an assist. And Hermes gives the Sockers the biggest cushion they've had in this series. Here's a chance for the blast down at the other end. Byrne going upstairs. Quinn now will work it upfield. First time I think we've seen Fogarty for the blast out there and at the wrong end of a tackle thanks to Paul Wright, who picks up the first foul of the third period.
It is a new face, Kenny Fogarty, wearing number 6 for the Baltimore Blast. He's out there for his experience. He's a veteran, not going to give you a lot of quickness, but he'll give you a lot of smarts.
Now the restart, Whitman far side of midfield. We've played only 29 seconds in the period. Sockers have already scored and lead 3-0. Boy, if you got back from the kitchen late, you're wondering what's going on. Hermes is what's going on. 2 goals, 1 in the second and now 1 early here. Nice job by Crow in the back. Gets the ball to Paul Wright. Works it back for Ralph Wilhelms. Now to Quinn up the middle. He's got running room in the midfield. Byrne bearing down on him. Dougherty, good cross the field play. And this is where the Sockers can be very dominant, Bill, in the midfield.
They have to be deliberate, but they cannot just fall back defensively now and think a 3-goal cushion is enough. They have to keep some pressure on Scott Manning in Baltimore, especially now that they're back on their heels thinking, oh my gosh, we're down 3-0.
Dougherty is fouled by Fogarty. That's obstruction. I'll tell you what, Bill, as Fogarty picks up the foul, last night's loss can't be better motivation for the Sockers to want to fill the net tonight.
I think as stunning as the Sockers' loss was last night, it's almost as stunning that Baltimore sees a San Diego team coming out this fired up.
On the restart, Karich after it alongside the net. Taken back by Byrne for the blast. Across the field, Metric running onto it, to the line. He can shoot, and he lets this one go. It's blocked by Wilhelm. Another chance, this time Hoskevy rejected at the top of the arc. 3-0 San Diego. Here's Mobilio, who, like last night, along with Ronson, has been silent.
Hoskevy is posting up, but they're denying him the ball.
A change from earlier strategy. Mobilio, a chance, he scores!
Huge goal. Big goal for the Blast. You know, what did we say about having a knack for the ball? Somehow it finds Mobilio as if it had a magnet in it. Valentine out on top, marked very well by Fernandez. Then Savage just knocks it off. Mobilio fans, but somehow gets it past Jungle. So give Mobilio credit, he stayed with it and fired it upstairs. The play went into the corner. Cacho went after it. Savage played it off the boards nicely. Mobilio with the right foot, no. With the left foot, yes. Tucks it underneath. 3-1. Baltimore needed it. 12th goal of the playoffs for Dominic Mobilio. Leads the league in that department.
So now it's back to a 2-goal San Diego lead, and the Blast get one back, but boy, it would have been a lot bigger had San Diego not scored 12 seconds in. A 3-1 game. Sound familiar? That's where we were in the 4th period last night.
Crowd's back into it a little bit too, Randy.
Here's some bad distribution by Manning. Black coming back to the corner. Manhandled there by Valentine, but getting it free to Hermes. Nogueira at the line, will send it deep. Savage scooping it out. Cacho working it back in. Look for Karich, just a little off the mark. Now Hoskevy trying to feed off the enthusiasm that last goal created with a shot from way outside. On the restart, here's Hermes. Hoskevy running onto it and caught up to Hermes there, who's got to be the faster player in that matchup, but Hermes wasn't able to outrun Hoskevy that time. Ball out for San Diego on the kick-in.
Hermes has been flying tonight. He's especially getting a lot of help from his teammates. In the first goal, it was Ralph Black, and then, of course, it was Crow keeping it alive with Alan Willie for his second goal. The distribution really on his points, 9 goals, 1 assist for 10 points in the playoffs. So he's scoring, that's for sure. He's finishing off very well.
Now Chuden will restart for the Sockers. Out to Hermes, and the left footer blocked by Thompson. And you know that Hermes is going to get a lot more attention now after scoring a couple.
One of the keys here is for San Diego not to commit a silly penalty and let the specialty teams decide it here in the second half.
Nice distribution by Nogueira. Willie trying to use the glass, kicks it out. This will come back Baltimore ball.
We've got Rusty Troy on for the first time also. So Fogarty and Troy for Baltimore making their first appearance of the series. That's Fogarty there, and Troy wears number 14, the big rookie.
He may win Rookie of the Year, and interestingly, he has not seen any action in the series until tonight.
Yeah, he may win. My vote definitely goes to Metric. He, I think, had to have more an instrumental part to the team's success than Troy did, although he played very well.
Troy out of North Texas State had 17 points in the regular season in 43 games. Nogueira smashing one out of the penalty area. He knocked Kevin Crow down in the process. Now Dougherty playing it to Alan Willie. On the wall ball, Willie, good idea, trying to find Dougherty running on. Back come the blast. And the crowd definitely, as you said, Bill, back in this game for Baltimore. Here's a chance for Chuden, but Fogarty turns the right way and sends it back up the field. Crow cuts in front of Byrne, who claims he was held. No foul given. Here's Fogarty stepping up again. Boy, do they love this guy here. To Byrne, and he couldn't find it with the outstretched right foot. Chuden will work it up for Dougherty. Now up the middle for Black, and Dougherty's hammered by Billy Ronson.
And you know what? It's just like last night, the absence of Ronson up to this point in the game. Just like last night, Ronson has been a ghost. Really hasn't had much to do offensively for Baltimore, but of course in the clutch last night, Billy Ronson, the hottest of the Blast, contributed.
11:32 to go here, third period, 3-1 San Diego. Here's Quinn, who scored the game's first goal. Ahead for Jungle, who may see more work now. Turning off Metric and pulled down. That'll be outside the box, though, and it'll be free kick. But a good free kick.
That's about as close as you can get to 2 minutes without calling it, because Metric had both arms wrapped around Jungle in the bear hug. Jungle posting up beautifully. Now as he turns, Metric knows he's beaten. He's got both arms around Jungle, and down you go. That's just a minor foul. Very close to 2 minutes.
Baltimore, as importantly now, up to 3 fouls, and we've only played 3.5 minutes of this third period. Quinn sets it down. Here's the restart. Jungle over the ball. To the right is Carriage up near the red line. To the far right is McAllis. Crow and Quinn are deep along the wall. Here's Jungle. Two-man wall in front of Steve. Byrne and Valentine warned to take a step back by Kelly Mock. Jungle in for McAllis, and the shot is there, but Manning is there too. Good reaction by the Blast goalkeeper. Now a foul Blast, and that's their fourth. 11:17 to go, third period. Sockers leading 3-1. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the simulcast to the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Now let's pause for a moment so that our stations can identify themselves. Tomorrow it's Miller Lite Pro Beach Volleyball from Venice, California. Catch all the action beginning at 7, exclusively on Prime Ticket, sports television at its best.
Along with the Grand Prix. And remember,
Gus McAllis set to put it back into play for the Sockers. At the far side, leaving it for Quinn. A blast through the crease. Jungle was looking for it, but it went by him. Now Crow chipping, and Manning goes upstairs to bring this in. Well, that goal really brought the Blast back. It brought the crowd back, and they have to be feeling a little better than they did 12 seconds into this period when Hermes netted one. They're still trailing by a couple, though. Here's Sweeney, gets by Quinn. Sweeney to the end wall. Dougherty throws his little body into the mix. Now Nogueira trying to find the loose ball. It comes out to McAllis. He hits Carriage at midfield. He's got a runner on the other side, Quinn, but Carriage took it back the other way. Now he'll run with it in midfield, leaving it for Quinn there.
Crow was asking for the ball the whole time, but Carriage said, I'll do it alone.
Nogueira with a high chip. Up in the air goes Dougherty, and he's called for the foul, and Rusty Troy holding his left ear now. I didn't know Paul Dougherty could get his elbows up that high.
David slays Goliath right here with the elbow instead of the slingshot. Bingo, right at the side of the head. Troy goes down. He'll be okay. Goes to the bench.
Dougherty gives up 10 inches to Troy, who's 6 feet. Paul 5'2". Here's Quinn, nice step-up move, then he draws it back, now looks to the right side, he has McAllis. Now Gus has Paul Wright. Wright stops it at the point. Looks back to the corner, McAllis was there, but Wright shoots instead, and on the second effort, shanks one right into Manning. On the outlet pass, quick delivery, now back through the middle, a chance for Metric, and he has it blocked, and on the rebound, Nogueira makes another second stop. Back to Metric in the corner. Nice left footer. In for Hoskeby. Back door. Crow steps up. Here come the Sockers again. It's a track meet.
Great action. Great action. Metric didn't expect Nogueira to wander out that far, so credit Nogueira for the big save.
Lots of time left in this game. Here's a chance for Ronson, but Cacho, who's played well tonight, comes out of the midfield, makes the stop. Now it's loose in front. Ronson with another opportunity, and now Willie with it. Fogarty takes it back, and Baltimore taking back some of the momentum here in the second half. 3-1 Sockers as Burns steps up, shot into Hoskeby. Now it comes out to Fogarty. His drive way wide, and Willie with it. Willie will try and go up the boards on Rusty Troy. Comes free to Cacho. Cacho has Hermes, and he has Wilhelms back of the halfway line. Hermes taken out by Fogarty. Foul number 4 against the Blast, and now they are in foul trouble. Still 9-10 to go, Bill.
Yeah, but a silly foul.
Here's Cacho, a chance in front. Open net for Willie, and Rusty Troy saves a goal. Here's Black. Open man, Willie, back through the middle, and he played it right to Valentine. He's trying to hit Ralph Black running onto that pass.
Oh, Fogarty's going to get 2 minutes.
They're both going on.
Fogarty should have just been the only one, and Essie is pointing at Fogarty. I was watching that the whole way, Randy, behind the play. Black was upset because Fogarty had knocked him down in the box. Fogarty is playing like a pulling guard.
The Sockers are going wild. They basically cleared the bench and surrounded the referees.
That was all Fogarty. Black did come up behind Fogarty, but Fogarty, he felt it, and he knocked Black down. And I don't know if they're both going to go off, although originally Kelly Mock said yes, they will.
Well, Fogarty is in the penalty box, and I do believe Ralph Black's going as well. Let's wait and see. No, Black's going over to the Sockers bench, so perhaps it is just a Baltimore penalty, as you called it, Bill. I have to admit, I was following the ball down at the other end.
All right, it was a long time coming on that. Those two had been banging at each other for quite some time, and Fogarty banged down Black. We should be able to see it if you're watching on the simulcast. On the right side, Fogarty, he had already knocked Black down. Now Black is coming up. Look, he sees Black coming. There's the leg. Whoop, down he goes. That's your penalty. Black didn't do a thing. Should be 2 minutes, Fogarty.
Fogarty was arguing evidently about something that happened before that resulted in Black going down initially. And there's still discussion on the field, and it's taking an awful long time here to sort it out.
Well, Fogarty definitely making his presence felt seeing this first action of this series. Manning had the best view in the house of the whole thing. He's got a terrible argument. He saw it all.
Right now they just have 2 minutes up on the board for the Baltimore Blast, Ken Fogarty.
Now this is before. Here comes Black right in the middle screen. Here's Fogarty. Fogarty knows in. He's going to push him down a little bit, and that's what Black took exception to. Yes, they ran into each other, but then Fogarty didn't have to step over Black and step on him, and he did.
I don't know. Black looked to me that he kicked at Fogarty on the way by after he had initially knocked him down. I'm sure that's what bothered Fogarty, who then obviously tripped Black.
Fogarty was ornery when he put his uniform on tonight, trust me. But so was Black.
Fogarty woke up ornery. Kenny Cooper can't believe the Sockers didn't get a penalty. Frankly, I'm a little surprised too, because initially it looked like they were pointing at Black. And now they want someone in the penalty box for the Sockers.
Well, see, that's what they were complaining about. Maybe not that the foul, but initially it was Kelly Mock who signaled them both off. S.C. Bahamas was only going to call Fogarty.
Be nice to get an announcement here, wouldn't it, as to what the penalties are? As yet, we've not received one. Tripping definitely against Fogarty, and we'll wait to see what the call is against the Sockers.
You know, I mentioned that about Fogarty being ornery. On the field, he is a gentle giant. I'm telling you, off the field, great sense of humor. You get him on the field, and he's a banger.
Sockers are now bringing Brian Quinn over to the penalty box. So there will be a Sockers penalty. It has not gone up on the board yet.
It's got to be Black. If it's anybody, it's got to be Black. I don't know who else it would be.
Amazingly, this has now turned into a 5-minute ordeal, and we're going to have matching penalties. Can't understand what the argument was all along.
Well, if it was true that Black had kicked him, which he probably did. I think Kelly Mock was more concerned at that point getting them both off, because it was one of those situations where it was just going to escalate. If you don't get him off then, the next time down the floor it's just going to be worse. Black is trying to hide over there. He's just standing on the bench, hoping that they don't ask him to come over.
I'm wondering if we may get a penalty to Baltimore, 2 minutes, and a misconduct to San Diego for emptying the bench, and that might not be a power play.
You know what? You may be right. Because if it's not Black, it's obviously something else.
And there's still nobody in the penalty box, but the penalty box door is still open.
Because immediately the entire team was in the referee's face, as you mentioned.
Willie comes over now and occupies a seat on the pine, so it can't be against Black, or he'd be in there. So it likely is to be then a team penalty, which I would assume would be for coming onto the field because the Sockers cleared their bench. Obviously, Bill McDonald, a lot of indecision on the part of the officials here. They still have not sorted all this out. There is a 2-minute penalty on the clock for the Sockers now, though. 8:55 left. Will break. Maybe they'll sort it out when we get back. Back in Baltimore, after all of that, we have offsetting penalties. Still waiting the official call. And it is now leaving the bench area. And it is a 2-minute penalty to San Diego, so had they not so vehemently argued, they would have had a power play. Here's Quinn to the corner. Karich a drive, and it went through the hands of Manning and out for corner kick. And I'll tell you, Karich unloaded on Manning.
Alan Willie serving that penalty just to finish off the point. S.E. Bahamas overruled Kelly Mock, who was initially going to send Black off. So it's just Fogarty on the trip, and then Alan Willie serving the bench penalty for clearing the bench, and they're running it four-side for the next minute, 57 here in the third.
Sockers tried a quick corner, and it didn't work, and now it's Baltimore ball. So only 3 seconds have ticked off the clock after the offsetting penalties. Fogarty for tripping, and San Diego a 2-minute bench penalty for leaving the bench to argue the call. They basically cleared the bench. Here's Karich. Lots of running room out there now. Try to put one through the legs of Savage. Now Hoskeby gets it back for the Blast. They trail 3-1. Deep ball in for Mark Metrick. Takes a bad bounce off the lip of the boards for him. Hermes heads it back to Victor Nogueira. 8:28 left to go in the third period. Here in game 2, a Sockers win will give them the home field advantage, heading back to San Diego for the next 3 beginning Friday. Metrick down the left side, knocked away from behind by Hermes.
Sockers should not commit any silly penalties because they have Baltimore in a bad position with 4 fouls and still over 8 minutes to play. So the Sockers should get aggressive, be a little calculated, because Baltimore is very close to the bubble.
Here's Karich, has Quinn on the left side. He'll back it out. Minute left now in the offsetting minor penalties. Here's Karich again. Pulled by Hoskeby, stays with it and shoots and just misses left. I'll tell you, Karich is getting better as the game goes on.
And Hoskeby is not a great one-on-one marker. He's great coming forward, but he's not the best one-on-one in the back. It's a good matchup for the Sox.
Valentine just standing with the ball at midfield now with 35 seconds left to go in the penalties. Sockers have Jungle out there right now. Savage with the ball, waits for David Byrne. Jungle picks up Byrne as he unloads the ball back to midfield for Savage. 3-1 San Diego. They go left side for Hoskeby. Black, who was on the receiving end of the Fogarty trip, there to mark Hoskeby. Keep in mind, Blast on 4 fouls. Hoskeby going around Black, forced wide, however. Ball bounces back out to center. Into Byrne. Byrne trying to hold off Fernandez. Back to Valentine. Valentine steps up, shoves it up for Byrne, but it's tipped to Jungle. Steve took a look behind, then takes a dive. They're not going to give a foul for that. Valentine trying to keep it alive for Baltimore. Run into by Willie. Play goes on. Here's Hoskeby. The penalized players obviously are back out there with Willie in on the action. Fogarty also out as well. Valentine now in the corner. Turns. Thought about a shot, plays it to Fogarty. His drive headed wide by Jungle. Fernandez trying to clear it out. Byrne gave it trouble. It's cleared out from in front.
Great play by Black.
Here's Savage over to Hoskovy as the Blaster putting on pressure.
Valentine is mad. He wants the ball.
Off his chest, tried to set up Hoskovy. It's back to Quinn. Now the Sockers need some changes. Quinn uses the board, gets it up to Willie. Willie trying to run around Savage. That's got to be an obstruction foul. They don't call it.
And then they miss the call. Even if it's not an obstruction, then Willie puts Savage down with both hands in the back, so neither foul was called.
I guess if you miss both of them, it's all right. Here's Ronson off the boards, took a bad bounce for him. Metric and Quinn into the boards. Quinn hacking away, it comes out to Willie. Ronson will keep it alive for the Blast. From the line, a shot. Nogueira knocks it down, almost gave that rebound away to Byrne.
Sockers have to slow this tempo way down. Baltimore is buzzing around the hive right now, and they're very close to scoring. Sockers have to get that tempo down.
Fogarty, a body check into Black. That's the 5th foul. Fogarty obviously attempting to establish a physical presence out there, but he's putting the Blast dangerously into foul trouble.
Again, the pressure on David Byrne, and again, it's Black and Fogarty. He's still trying to pay back.
On the restart, Blast win it. Here's Ronson to the line, to the right. Wall ball in the mixer. Who's got it? Cacho in the corner. Can he clear it? And it's in the net.
And who else? Mobilio. Mobilio immediately moves towards the back post and gets the tap in right on the line. 13 goals, 8 games for Dominic Mobilio, the first-year player out of Canada. The scramble in the corner started by Ronson. The inability for the Sockers to A, clear, and B, Nogueira to hold on. Freddie Thompson does the dirty work along with Billy Ronson. Ronson beats 2 players, but a little miscommunication as Fernandez tries to play it back for Nogueira, and Mobilio gets what you would call, well, to be very nice, a lucky goal.
Visions of a night ago. It's 3-2 San Diego, 5:07 left in the 3rd period on Prime Ticket. 3-2, the Baltimore Blast have scored 2 unanswered goals and wiped out a 3-0 San Diego whitewash, Bill McDonald, and boy, has everything shifted back to the men in white and orange.
And this crowd on their feet, a tremendous lift to this team. Billy Ronson kept it alive. He and Mobilio have combined for 24 of the team's 42 goals in the 1989 playoffs. That is something else. That's over 50%. In fact, total points, they're over 40%. San Diego, where has the killer instinct gone?
Sockers are still playing well, but that was a strange set of circumstances to result in the 3-2 goal. Here's Rusty Troy. Comes to midfield for the Blast, who are now looking to tie.
And remember, Baltimore on 5 fouls.
Into Freddie Thompson. Up in the air goes Crow. Nice play by Kevin. And now it'll come out to Hermes. With Crow are make it Karich and Cacho. Hermes looks for Cacho. Little behind him, but they'll keep it alive to McAllis. 4:30 to go, 3rd period. We're on the simulcast here at the Baltimore Arena, Game 2. And the Sockers trailing in the series 1-0 after last night's heartbreak. McAllis along the boards for Cacho. Cacho had trouble getting that ball out of the corner, and it turned it all around. You still feel semi-comfortable at 3-1. Now it's a whole new game again. And here's Mobilio.
Got to get that power play. What a lift that would be for the Sockers, especially if they could convert.
Baltimore's got to go basically 4 minutes here without a foul. Here's Byrne, beat Crow, crossed the crease. Thompson was off the ball a little bit. Otherwise, we're tied right now.
I think he was looking for the ghost of Mobilio at the back post.
Here's Valentine, pirouetting away from Karich. Now smacks one in for Byrne. That's settled by Crow to Hermes. And Wad was thinking Crow would make the commitment up the left side. Crow wasn't. Back come the Blast. Sockers changing defensively on the run. They get Paul Wright on the field. And I'll tell you, Fogarty, for the fouls he's taken, has changed this game, Bill McDonald.
His energy has really been a lifting force for this team.
Byrne, a strange spinner off the boards, gave Nogueira a little trouble. Now the outlet for Wright. And Manning is there to clear it away and up the field for Freddie Thompson. Back for Ronson. Here comes Baltimore. They're coming down in waves. Tipped away by McCallum. Quinn along the boards, losing it to Metric. 3-on-2, and they're in deep. Metric in front. It took a funny bounce. Nogueira lost sight of it for a moment.
Tell you, for being on 5 fouls, Baltimore's losing none of their aggression.
Absolutely none. Here's Quinn, nonchalanted it along the boards, and Byrne beat him. And that's not Quinn's style. Now he comes from behind, takes it back, and holds it. Here's Jungle standing in front of the line. He should be reasonably fresh. He played very little in the first half. We're down to 2:25 left here in the third period. Crow and Dougherty can't decide which one wants it. Here's Byrne with room down the left side. In on goal, and he toe pokes it through the crease. Fogarty stays away from the foul against Black. Of course, they had that violent collision earlier that resulted in the 5th foul.
And a moment ago, Ronson was knocked down behind the play, too, by the Sockers, and he's shaken up a bit.
Since that 5th foul, you sense that the Sockers have almost been counting on Baltimore to pick up the 6th, and they haven't. Mobilio's shot deadened with the slap of the hand by Nogueira. Now the outlet to Jungle. 1-on-1. Shoots and scores! What a goal by Steve Jungle.
That was the best distribution of the night by Nogueira. He took just one step instead of the usual 2. He's been hop, skipping, and jumping and throwing that ball late all night. This time, he just came out and gunned it to Jungle, and that was one of the main factors that Jungle was able to come in 1-on-1 and score. This is the tail end of it. Jungle with the toe poke, and Manning just wasn't ready for it. He thought Steve was going to make another move, and the rookie, Troy, just took a lesson from the master. Troy, he thought he was in position, and Jungle just fired it quickly. But you got to give just as much credit to Nogueira. Boy, did he come up firing. 4-2.
Steve's 8th playoff goal. And what a great career it's been in the postseason for Steve Jungle.
4-time MVP of the playoffs in 80, 81, 82, and 85, and he's the all-time leader in playoff scoring with 185 points, and he just adds another one. Big play for San Diego, and Baltimore still on 5 fouls.
1:47 to go. Here's a ball that comes to Nogueira. Banged into the boards a little further by Mobilio. Not enough for a foul. Now the outlet to Ralph Black. Sockers need to work the ball up to the front man. That's a poor pass by Black. Nowhere near Willie, and they give it back to Baltimore late here in the period. Just when they come back and score a key one, they cough it back up. Valentine chased back to center. They're going to do their best to keep the ball away from San Diego. Hard to commit a foul when you have the ball. Here's Mobilio, turns, plays it off the wall for Metric. It comes back on the carom to Nogueira. He looks outlet now and just fires it up the field to Carriage. Zorin, between 2 Baltimore players, loses it. And here's Valentine with a minute to go in the period. Valentine to the San Diego red line to Hoskovy, overlapping, and Nogueira got a hand on it. Slapped it down with the right hand. Hermes hammering at it. We have a foul. It's against Baltimore. Mobilio pushing off Fernandez. Then he bumps into the referee, Mock, and he could get another 2 if he's not careful. But the Sockers are going to go on a power play here late in the third. Mobilio continuing to argue his case with Kelly Mock. Hoskovy intervenes to try and keep the peace. But San Diego, with the best power play in soccer this year, is going to get a chance to work on it. Boy, Mobilio's getting a lot of freedom from Kelly Mock. Obviously, Mock understands the serious nature of a penalty against Baltimore at this time. Sockers, regular season, 31%, and right now they're verging on 47%. 7 playoff goals in 15 attempts on the power play for San Diego. David Byrne in the box for Baltimore. The Blast in the regular season, for lack of a better word, comparatively, were horrendous penalty killing wise. 68%. That was worst in the league, and they're even worse in the playoffs. 60%. They've allowed 6 power play goals in 10 tries by the opposition. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Chalet, where you'll find the best selection and service with 4 convenient San Diego locations. Sockers will begin this power play with the ball deep in their own zone and with 48 seconds to operate with here in the third period. They lead 4-2 thanks to a wonderful goal by Steve Jungle. A terrible mismatch, really, the rookie Rusty Troy against the wily veteran Jungle. And Jungle with a great ball off the post to put it in. A goal now would be huge for the Sockers. Here's Crow. Chips it over to Steve Jungle. Plenty of time here in this period. 40 seconds. Carriage pressured by Freddie Thompson. Gets rid of it to Jungle. Steve stepped on it a little bit. Over to the far post. Dougherty off the side of the post, and it came back out. Nogueira will settle it at the red line. 21 to go in the period. The power play will spill over into the fourth, obviously, if the Sockers don't score here. Hermes back for Crow. Now Carriage with 9 seconds to go. Jungle deep for Hermes. Back for Jungle. Little past him. Carriage on the way back, a drive. Here's Hermes with 2 seconds to Crow, who shoots at the buzzer. Manning goes upstairs, but it was off the mark. Sockers power play looked very good there. Just a tap of the foot or a bounce of the ball away from a power play goal. 1:12 to go on the power play when we come back, but we're at the end of 3 here on Prime Ticket and Extra News Talk, and it's 4-2 San Diego.
3 complete here at the Baltimore Arena. It is 4-2 San Diego as we enter the fourth quarter. Talking out of the head man of the San Diego Sockers, Ron Newman. A little frantic, a little nervous in that third quarter.
Yeah, well, they started to put on a lot more high pressure, and we're getting some success out of it. But with Steve Jungle's goal was very important to us because it suddenly gave us that relief, brought them down a peg or two.
I want to talk about Jungle's goal. It seemed to me earlier in the game, Nogueira had been taking maybe one extra step, trying to get it out to midfield. That time, one step firing it, that was the key to that goal.
That's right. He caught it by surprise, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't think they expected Stevie to find the corner from there.
All right, now what are you going to do in this fourth quarter? Are you going to try to lay back and dictate the tempo, or are you going to take it to them?
Well, we're going to play the same way. We try to slow the tempo. They're going to come out crazy.
Right.
Yeah, we know that. So we're going to keep slowing it down in between times. But all the time we're on the field, we're going to have to play high pressure.
Confidence is good.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to go for it.
And I thought that was important coming out tonight, especially after the loss last night.
That's right. The lads have been playing marvelous. I mean, I thought we were snake bit when that other goal went in. I thought, here we go again. But it was important, the fourth goal. But now, of course, it's still a tight game. It's anybody's game. We've got another period here.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, Randy.
Thank you, gentlemen. The Baltimore Blast certainly are buoyed by the thought of last night, but in the fourth period this year, or in this playoff year, they have been dominant in the fourth period, outscoring the opponent 17-9. That statistic may be a little overinflated because of the 11-1 victory over Wichita when the Blast filled the net in the fourth period with 5 goals. But still, no question, dominant through the final 15 minutes of play, as they were last night, really dominant just through the last minute of play. But we're set for the final period on the simulcast. The Sockers defend the net to our left and attack left to right. They've outshot Baltimore by a slim 2-shot margin, 23-21, and outscored them 4-2. San Diego begins on the power play, and they'll have 1:12 on the man advantage. But first, Baltimore has the ball from the kickoff, and they must take it back from the Blast. Carl Valentine chasing it into the San Diego zone, comes free, and now they get it back to Nogueira. Now the Sockers can go on the power play for a minute. Crow will stay on the field on the power play, and lots of changes now. On comes Jungle, Carriage, and Dougherty, along with Hermes and Crow. Carriage in the middle, back for Crow, now over to the right for Steve Jungle. Had some trouble controlling this one. Thigh trap by Crow. In front for Dougherty. Nice ball to the right. Here's a chance. Hermes was left all alone, but Jungle played it too squarely toward the goal. Manning with a routine stop, and he'll just send it down the field. Crow sends it back up for Carriage. Across for Jungle. Still 30 to go in the power play. Here's Hermes, far post, chipping it on Manning, who touched it. And again, Hermes got free. Nobody picked him up. Manning sends it up now for Valentine. Someone on the Blast bench touched it. They don't whistle it. Here's Valentine down the right side. Out of the corner, Jungle will settle it again for Nogueira. Now just 10 seconds on the power play. Crow dribbling to midfield. Waiting for a late change. Willie coming on, and now the power play is over. Byrne back on the field. Jungle with the ball. Back to Crow. Slow ball. Tough one for Kevin. Had to turn and play it back to Nogueira. Victor forced wide. Gives it away, and it's kicked out by Sweeney. Bad communication, and Victor Nogueira having a problem there. Perhaps some of the team still feeling they were on the power play. Not so. And near disaster there for San Diego if Sweeney keeps that lower.
You know, during the timeout, Ralph Black and Kenny Fogarty were still going at it between the third and fourth quarters. I mean, they had a running conversation going, and a most colorful one.
Describe it for us, Bill.
Oh, well.
I don't think it's family entertainment.
No.
Certainly a heated game here, and one would expect nothing less. We're in the championship series. It's been a long year that began for these players with training camp in September, and now here we are almost into June. Ronson in midfield, taken away by McAllis. Carriage trying to dribble through traffic to midfield. He's kicked by Byrne. Good call by Bahamas behind the play. That's the first foul of the period. Fernandez up for Willie, who was a tireless worker last night and through the first half of this game. Now a ball off Hoskevy out as Fernandez tried to send it up the field.
And Billy Ronson, who came on late and often in last night's game. You know, he was so hot versus that Wichita series. 11 goals in the 1989 playoffs, but interestingly enough, only 1 goal in his first 3 playoff years. So you want to talk about all of a sudden catching fire. Had 20 goals during the regular season. Had a lot to prove after really not a great regular season, but obviously a great playoffs.
He was a real thorn in the side against the Sockers in the regular season, though. Continually gave them trouble, as he has here in the playoffs. Fernandez left side again. Can't reach Dougherty. Troy knocked it down. It's played into open space by the Blast. Mobilio chasing it down, but Carriage to it first. And an illegal pass back called against the Sockers. They will bring it to the red line. So the Sockers pass back to Nogueira. He can't pick up in that spot as it came from beyond the red line back to him. And now a chance for the Blast from the red line. No, top of the D. Correction. Good opportunity. Hoskevy fakes over to Metric. Now he gets it to him, and he hits it left foot into the wall.
Sockers are playing that defense well.
Here's Quinn, grabbed by Hoskevy. Play goes on. It's Carriage left side, sharp angle. Dougherty in front, but Manning's got it. Dougherty was there, but Manning got it just in time.
And Hoskevy got away with a foul, a hold.
I think the call that time was play on because Quinn still had possession. Mobilio out of the corner. This is a dangerous spot, it seems, for the Sockers against Baltimore. We have a whistle behind the play, and we're going to get offsetting penalties to Ronson and Fernandez. So they'll both go off.
And neither can understand or believe it. Ronson, the more agitated or the more vehement of the two. They both have their arms outstretched. Boy, that's similar poses for both these two players. And they look at each other and say, hey, we don't have a beef with each other. We should have just gone on and played.
That's not a bad trade-off for San Diego,
no,
getting Ronson off the field for a couple of minutes.
Although Fernandez, one of the top defenders. In the corner, we'll see the action now. It's on the left of your screen if you're watching on the simulcast. They have their elbows entwined. And Fernandez knows that there's nothing really he can do about it. And Fernandez went into the boards. They're both going off.
So offsetting penalties here. There won't be a power play. There is a break in the action, however. Sox lead 4-2. 4-2, 12:09 left. Sockers with a 2-goal lead. And they have possession deep in their own zone. Ronson and Fernandez both offer unsportsmanlike conduct for 2 minutes each. And they will put those penalties up on the board as opposed to a misconduct. So the teams will again have 4 runners out there with the goalkeepers. That opens up that field again. So many goals are scored in this 4 versus 4 configuration.
And that's why speed is so important. If you've got speedy players, this is a time to put them on the field. I really think, Randy, if San Diego can get the next goal, they're going to win this game. 5-2, I think, will be enough. It's such a similar situation to last night. You just don't want this crowd, which really gets behind its team, to get back into it, because it helps. There's no doubt about it. This home field advantage, just as it is for the Sockers at the Sports Arena. And rest assured, they'll be roaring on Friday. Really means a lot, especially down the stretch. And this second half has normally been the Sockers' time.
It's going to be a great weekend of action at the Sports Arena. Friday and then Sunday, games 3 and 4. Here's Chuden chasing it down, but Metric brings it back. Leaving it for Byrne. Byrne to the line, standing on the ball. Looks for Savage, running off to the right. Savage using the wall, gets it up front for Valentine. Back for Savage, shot wide, rebound, chance for Valentine, off the wall.
Fortunate for Victor Nogueira. Was out of position on that last one.
Nogueira now trying to slow the pace a little bit. Looking up for Hermes. Watt has to reach out for it, but gets it. Keeps it away from Valentine, but plays it right to Metric. Here's Carl Valentine with 11:15 to go. Boy, after 2 goals in a minute last night, you can never be wrong saying there's plenty of time left anymore. Here's Valentine off the wall. Crow there to clear it up to Hermes. And now to Quinn. Fogarty sticks a leg in. Now look out. Black and Fogarty. Lots of bumping there. Black hacking away. No foul. Valentine back to Fogarty. Shovels it into the corner for Metric. They'll bring it back out. 35 seconds left now, incidentally, in the offsetting penalties.
This is good defense by San Diego. They're keeping the pressure on at midfield.
Troy into the middle. It's loose and wide. Byrne back to Valentine. Blast on the move here. Trying to go around Hermes and does. Now he's facing Black. Chips it far post. Troy up in the air. Couldn't reach it. Now Quinn plays it by Byrne. Nobody running deep, so plays it short to the left for Hermes. Penalized players about to come on in 5 seconds, and then we'll have the full complement. Long pass up for Black. Fogarty up in the air to get this one, and a foul called against, or check that ball out against Baltimore, and it'll be San Diego's coming in.
Boy, you see the difference when there's only 8 players on the field, 4 on a side. How much more room, how much more action. You know, a lot of people want that. 4 on 4. Open this thing up maybe even just a little bit more. They think that 5 on 5, it gets too crowded.
Well, of course, the international game is 5 aside. That's right. A goalkeeper and 4 runners. That was the much ballyhooed tournament over in Holland this year. The U.S. did so well in.
We talked about the second half traditionally been the soccer's half during the regular season, outscoring by a wide margin, 139 to 89. But turn around in the playoffs. We're talking about the killer instinct. 19 to 19 in the second half. So they just haven't been able to put away the opponents here in the second half.
The penalized players will come on in 1 second. So both teams are preparing for the full complement of players. Kenny Cooper's sports coat, incidentally, came off way back in the first period.
Early.
Here's Chuden, and the penalized players are on. Chuden, a shot from long distance. Big rebound. He gets it into Willie, and they score, but it's after a whistle. A handball called against San Diego in the box.
Clearly.
Tough break. Tough break.
Yeah, clearly after the whistle, though. Good call.
Back comes Rusty Troy now for the Blast. 9:55 to go. First foul for San Diego. Teams even in that department with 1 each. Far cry from the third period when the Blast got into early trouble. Here's Willie. Loose ball comes near Chuden. And Chuden has a breakaway. Can Savage catch him? Chuden to the red line. Chuden forced outside. Plays it off the wall. Trailing is Willie. Look out. It's in the third deck.
Right there, Chuden did not call the bluff of Scott Manning. He tried to get a little too cute. Instead of pushing it in front and forcing Manning to come out, he tried to play it off to Alan Willie, who buried it into the seats. But Alan Willie has been playing well. He scored a moment ago, was disallowed because of handball. And here it will be. Alan Willie down low with Rusty Troy. It'll go off of Chuden and off the left arm of Alan Willie. Almost pinned it up against, and then he quickly turned and scored on Manning. It was disallowed. He thought he might have gotten away with it. Not this time.
Interestingly, talking with Ron Fowler, as you were at halftime, about improving team speed. The Sockers really only have, in my mind, 2 breakaway threats speed-wise. Paul Wright and Kevin Crow.
Although Segundo knows how to play a breakaway if he was in that position.
And if he wasn't hampered with an injury all year. We haven't really seen his speed all season. McAllis clears one out. Are they going to bring this one to the top of the D? Let's wait and see. As McAllis looks on, they will call it kick in.
An on and off series for Gus, but I think now down towards the end of the game is when he buckles in. 31 games, 4 goals, 9 assists. Offense has been off of it. This is playoff career. Many of those games, of course, with San Diego the last 2 years. Saw brief playoff appearances with the Lasers a couple of times.
Ronson leaves it as Sweeney gets set to step on. In front, they score. Ronson.
You know, it's almost eerie. Kenny Cooper's team now, he's kissing Blarney Stones, you can bet. Billy Ronson hasn't done much, and now all of a sudden on a great set, Ronson gets the ball and fires it in first time. And that was the key. Billy Ronson right off of the pass with the left foot, and he acknowledges the crowd. It's in the corner, Sweeney. San Diego thought he was going to wrap it around the boards, and everybody was glued into that corner. Ronson snuck by Quinn and fired it. That's just a great pass by Sweeney. Give him credit. See Ronson, he's backing up. San Diego doesn't see him backing up. They still think he's on his hip. Now all of a sudden he'll tuck it in the near post. So Billy Ronson, the diminutive one, gets lost at the far side of the box and scores. It's 4-3 with 9:16 left.
Unbelievably, Bill, as we see Ronson's numbers now, the same two people keep killing San Diego. It's Ronson and Mobilio. It's like a broken record.
Yeah, and it's Ronson late and Mobilio throughout.
Here's Quinn now as the Sockers lead has dropped to 1 again. Foul Sweeney. But Baltimore's been getting away with the fouls. They've been called, but they haven't been hurting them. Here's Dougherty. And now the Sockers need a goal again. Jungle spinning out of the corner, runs into Fogarty. It's loose. Quinn setting it up for Crow, left footer, and Dougherty can't tip it in. It changed direction on him. Manning had lost the far post, but Dougherty couldn't find the handle. Back come the Blast. Here's Valentine. Ahead to Byrne. Man at the far post. And Paul Wright scoots out of nowhere. Trying to find Quinn. It's tipped away. Wright stays with it. Quinn with a breakaway. Manning coming out, and he kicks it into the seats. And it will be Baltimore ball. It went off Quinn.
That's the kind of decision that Manning would have had to make on Chuden. And he made it right there on Quinn. It was the right decision. You cannot let a guy like Quinn with his ability march in alone. Take the chance, get aggressive, don't hesitate. Manning's been around long enough to know. And in fact, he gets the ball on his side. This crowd is roaring.
Now 8:32 left. Baltimore trailing 4-3. And indeed, they are roaring with good reason. Nogueira up and Troy bumped him. No foul. Blast have a couple of fouls on the clock. Sockers with 1. Crow pressured, gets rid of it to Hermes. Karich looking for the dummy pass, reacted a little late. They scoop it back to Manning. The outlet by Manning. Fires a fastball up to Hoskevy. Now Crow has to get back defensively and makes a block with his heel. Savage with lots of room on the left side. Goes back right to Ronson, who can't do anything wrong. This time he fails to make the run. Hermes after the rebound. But Mobilio strips it right off him, and the Sockers showing a lack of composure here in the fourth period.
Yeah, Sockers got to get some offense going. They cannot just play defense for 7.5. Baltimore will score, no doubt about it. They've got to get some offensive threat, take some off of their defense.
Hoskevy sets it for Ronson, then spreads wide to the right. Nobody has Rusty Troy at the far post. Fortunately, the ball behind it. Back out to center for Byrne. Half a period left here in regulation. Byrne shuffling to the right. He's tripped. No foul. That's a lucky break for the Sockers. Here's a 3-on-2. Karich with Hermes, and he tried between the legs. And why try between the legs when you've got 2 men? Karich trying to embarrass somebody there, and it cost a great scoring opportunity.
And they botched it.
Did they ever?
Now you can't play defense like it's a power play.
Here's Savage. Tipped by Wright. Here's Dougherty up for Paul Wright. Manning makes the commitment again to come out. I think Wright clipped him, but there's no foul. Cacho trying to chip the goalkeeper, and Manning will play it on one hop like a shortstop. 6:43 to go. 4-3 Sockers. But right now it's all Baltimore. Every time the Sockers get the ball, they give it right back down in the attacking end. And Baltimore comes roaring right down. Here's Valentine on Ralph Black.
Again, the same thing holds through. Make sure your man is between you and the goal. Don't let your man get behind you.
Both teams, Bill, have played very well tonight. Here's a chance, but Wright is there. Pokes it back for Crow. Kevin is just going to try and get it out of trouble and can't. Here's Freddie Thompson up to the line. He has Valentine open. Valentine's not going to use the shot. He'll move in on Black. Now he cuts to the inside. Wright is there, tips it free to Ralph Black. Black shoved down by Valentine. No foul. Now Wright runs into Valentine, who chips it up for Mobilio. Mobilio shielding the ball away from double team coverage along the boards. Right in on Troy. Foul called against Rusty Troy.
And Kelly Moore called it from the other side of the floor.
That's the third team foul against the Blast with 5:52 left.
From the other side of the floor, and that's what David Byrne is saying. He says, hey, Essie was right in front of the play, and if he didn't call it, how could you from 80 feet away?
That's not always a good argument. You often get a better perspective from the other side.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
And of course, we have the best perspective up here. 4-3, 5:52 left. Quinn will send it out of play.
Boy.
And there's a timeout on the field. More mistakes by the Sockers down the stretch here. Can they hang on? We'll find out. 4-3 Sockers on Prime Ticket. All right, now is the time for all you youngsters to make your plans for the Soccer Summer Camp 1989. The very Sockers that you're watching tonight will be there to instruct you on all the basic and intermediate soccer skills and game strategies. These camps run all summer from 9 a.m. through noon, Monday through Friday. They're talking about afternoon sessions as well now, so check it out. Each camper receives a size 5 soccer ball, a camp t-shirt, skills evaluation, and a certificate of completion. If you'd like more information on the specific dates and locations, call the Sockers at 224-GOAL. Ask about Summer Camp 1989.
During that timeout, Kenny Cooper specifically drawing out plans, especially with David Byrne, as they come to their feet in Baltimore.
It's Blast ball, and this crowd, many of them here last night, sensing that Baltimore is perfectly capable of another comeback. Right now, they just trail by 1.
Well,
4-3.
What you won't see is the keeper being pulled till maybe 3.5 or 2.5, when we saw it at about 5 last night.
Here's Quinn up for Paul Wright. Sidestepping him is Fogarty. Ball comes back into Manning. Chests it down, plays it over the midfield, up for Byrne. Crow is there. So is McAllis, who plays it into the path of Bronson. Bronson off the boards. Quinn stopping it there. Dribbles his way out of the defensive third. Now he comes to midfield, still with it, ahead for Willie. Willie, a ball to Crow. Back for Willie. And it's cleared out by Rusty Troy. McAllis heads it back into the offensive end for Jungle. Steve has a key goal. It's the winning goal right now. McAllis trying to do likewise from the left point, and that's out of play.
But like any team, the Sockers looking to the veteran Jungle to control in the key moments. They figure if anybody's got composure, it might as well be number 21. And in the face of all this, still finds time to smile with 5:16 left and a 4-3 lead.
You sense Jungle, Willie, these veterans, they live for being in a championship series like this, despite the disappointment of last night. The joy of being out there and playing for what you worked all year for and really all your life for to be a champion is very evident in their faces. As far as the younger players and the rookies go, I don't know. I think they're still a little shook up because of last night.
A guy like Jungle doesn't know anything else.
Ball out off metric. This will be San Diego's coming back in. On the foul clock, Sockers have a little bit going for them. Baltimore with 3, San Diego with only 1. 5:07 left. Really, Bill, I think down these final 5 minutes, we'll find out what the Sockers particularly are made of. They know they have a lot to make up for after last night.
Well, they wanted to steal one, at least, without Segota. They lost it last night, and they get this one will be just as big.
Carriage stumbling to the goal, and now Savage kicks it out for San Diego restart. This will come to the far side of the field on the simulcast, and Hermes is there to put it into play.
And the way they figured if they can win here, they can go home, and if things go their way, they'd have to play unbelievable soccer, but they could win it at home because they go 3 in a row. The way that the format is at 2-3-2. They couldn't do that if they lose it here. They could just hope to come back.
Hermes drops it to Quinn. Quinn in front for Carriage. Carriage trying to get rid of Savage up front, drives it off the wall. Cut off by Valentine, but Crow will keep it in. Looking for Hermes. That's knocked out by Valentine. McAllis right back with it. For Quinn, the outlet man at center. Now up the right side for Hermes. Out of the corner. Double team there. Manning will get it from Valentine. 4:35 left. Here's Hoskevik running parallel with the red line, sending it long and deep into the corner. Quinn's there, gets it back over to Victor Nogueira, and who was there but Mobilio.
Going straight for the goal.
Victor will walk up the middle now, sends it to the head of Metric out. This will be San Diego's halfway up the field. 4:16 left now, and game 2 coming down to the final moments. 4-3 Sockers. We'll be back in a moment.
The Masked Marauder drinks Miller Lite because it's less filling. Me, I drink it because it tastes great, and I'm gonna crush it. You can unmask him and be eligible for big prizes. Tell him how much, Don Pardo.
How about total prizes of $100,000? Just enter the Lightomania sweepstakes or find the instant win card hidden in packages of America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite, the less filling beer that...
Who is this guy?
4-3 here in the 4th period on the simulcast. Game 2 of the championship series, and San Diego trying to even the series.
Composure time. You want it to the veteran Steve Jungle. Of course, he has the goal that could prove to be the game winner tonight, that 4th goal, and he has 186 points to lead. You look at the list, Hoskovi's here tonight, Segota's on the Sockers, Jungle's #1. Most of these, of course, San Diego players, and Wilrich, Quinn, and V. That's up and down the list, all the superstars in the Major Indoor Soccer League. But Jungle, he may never be caught.
That goal by Steve tonight, incidentally, was his 111 in his postseason career. Here's Black sending one in. Fogarty, who's been matched up with Black frequently, sends it back in for Byrne. Nogueira way out of the goal. Byrne trying to work it for Sweeney. Sweeney out of the corner. Comes free in front, and Dougherty will side-foot it into the Baltimore bench. This will come back in, blast ball with 4:02 left, and Nogueira is in no man's land there.
One of the most impressive players on the floor for either team has been Paul Dougherty, and you really cannot complain about his work rate, and that was what has made him such a good force here. And now it's 6th attacker time. You look at Dougherty's numbers, 7 and 14.
And the Blast are doing it on a guaranteed timeout here. They're not using up their timeout to get Byrne in as the extra attacker. So there's a good strategy move by Kenny Cooper.
Yeah, he has that timeout to be saved in case they need it for a corner kick late in the game. That's when they'd use it down with about a minute or so. So he pulls them pretty early here with 4:02 to play.
He senses that Baltimore has the Sockers on the ropes again a little bit here.
6 attacker goals, 6 attacker goals. We'll get that right in 7 playoff games. And of course, Byrne, who had that job last night again here. And again, it holds true. If you're going to get beat out on top. Don't get beat at the back, especially by number 18. Oh, you'll never live with it.
Right now, Ron Newman doesn't have a runner out there who can maybe exploit that open net. Here's Valentine trying to do it at the other end. To the middle, a chance for Ronson, blocked by Nogueira. Ralph Black missed the chance to clear. Now here's Fernandez toward the open net. It caroms behind Alan Willey to the right side. He immediately is converged upon by 3 Blast players and taken down. No foul. What a chance for Ronson in front to tie.
Now you've got to pressure the 6th attacker, Randy. You can't let him come into the red line and set up. It's the responsibility of Willey, Fernandez, and Black to pressure Byrne a little bit.
But without speed out there right now, who's going to recover if Byrne gets by that pressure man?
Well, you can't just let him walk in.
Here's a chance. Hoskevik through the legs of Black. Nogueira comes way out, but Crow is there to save it. Now Kevin in trouble, needs help. Willey comes in, blocks it. It's still free. Hoskevik was held. There's a San Diego foul.
That's a good call by Kelly Mock because Hoskevik was about to prance on the ball.
Quick restart. Byrne to Ronson. Missed the chance. Here's Hoskevik chipping far post. He got too much under it. Lifts it out. Boy, the Sockers are clinging to this lead.
Baltimore is extremely effective in the 6th attacker offense. They have so many people that they can move around to different places, too. They're interchangeable, and that's what's important. There's Hoskevik, and there's Ronson, who was robbed by Nogueira just a moment ago at the back post. And now they'll change up a little bit with San Diego on the ball. The defensive unit will come out, which includes Metric and Savage. But you can rest assured they'll be straight off as soon as Baltimore gets the ball back.
We are witnessing just a great championship series, and we're only 2 games deep. This is great stuff. We waited all year for this. San Diego and Baltimore, at least many of us did, and we're getting what we expected.
That's 3 lines.
It is a 3-line violation. They'll bring it back. Those are mistakes the Sockers can ill afford to make at this point. 2:58 left. They keep letting Baltimore back in the door. Valentine stands over it. The restart to Mobilio. Back for Valentine. The sixth attacker in for the blast. Hoskevy to Freddie Thompson. Tipped away. Now Hermes falls. Hoskevy continuing on out of the corner. Dangerous spot and over the head of Mobilio. That's how they tied it at the back post last night.
Paul Wright was there, but it went over him.
Here's Burns, a shot wide, rebound, chance in front. Paul Wright steps up, can't get it back into the midfield. Here's Thompson, Hoskevy alone in the corner. The diving effort, the header, they score!
You're witnessing just some amazing stuff by the Baltimore Blast. This is championship stuff. That's why they were the regular season champions. Freddie Thompson with the head ball. He'll start it out on top. Into the corner will go. Paul Wright makes the play. He's out of the play now. Out in front it goes, and Freddie Thompson can't do anything about it. It goes off of Kevin Crowe. Rub those Blarney Stones. Kiss them all you want, because it's going Baltimore's way, baby. Freddie Thompson off of Crowe. Own goal. Tied up at 4. 2:27 left.
The Sockers' Bill McDonald, as Kenny Cooper congratulates Freddie Thompson on his 5th goal of the playoffs. The Sockers must now try and get to overtime because Baltimore is on fire. Here's Jungle, a head ball. Manning will pick up. Now let's watch the defense form as the Sockers try and protect the tie. Byrne. And Dougherty takes it away.
You know, the crime with that goal is Crowe was in perfect position.
Here's Jungle at center. Dishes off. Nobody stepped up out of the back, and Jungle can't believe it. Byrne sends it back in. Sweeney will go for it. Nogueira bumps it up the wall. Dougherty can't get it up to Quinn, who has to chase it himself. Now Quinn tied up by Sweeney. In comes Byrne. Quinn threw a shoulder into Byrne. Looked like a foul, but they don't call it. Sockers can't clear it. They just cannot get it out of the zone.
Hey, you know that the refs aren't going to call the foul, so you've got to go in there hard and strong.
4-4 tie. The Sockers blew a 3-0 lead. I'd have never guessed it could happen 2 nights in a row, Bill. Ball out. This will be San Diego's coming in.
You know, this is the kind of game that we used to expect from San Diego, and it's changed a little bit now, and it's Baltimore doing it to the Sockers. And you've been accustomed to it for so many years in the men in blue, you just can't believe it's going the other way. But then as you said it, you saw it last night, you knew it could happen again. And the Baltimore Arena is the place to be tonight.
This potentially could be the last game of the year here, if the Blast can win a championship at the Sports Arena. No team has ever done that, except the Sockers. Nogueira now walking it up the field with 1:22. In the corner to Jungle. Steve fighting off the defense of Metric. Still with it. Looks to the front of the net for Cacho. Now Black stepping up. Loose ball cleared to center. Here's Ronson with Mobilio. You hate to hear those names if you're a Sockers fan. Ronson, left side, shoots off the wall. Mobilio on the rebound, hits it out.
Oh, he was there, and oh, did he want it. A great ball by Billy Ronson on the 3-on-2. Sockers struggling to get back, and Ronson laid it off the wall to Mobilio right on his foot. Ronson left foot, that's a pass all the way. It just is out of the reach of Fernandez, and with the left foot and Nogueira on his knees, it goes into the seats. See if the Sockers can feed on that and go the other way. The Blast have outscored their opponents 19-9 in the 4th quarter of the playoffs. We showed you how it used to be the Sockers' time. Now it's Baltimore's. And I'll tell you, Cooper looks like he's been through the washer.
Looks like he's been through a car wash with all the windows open and the top down. Here's Karich at center with 1 minute left in regulation, and he's taken down. That's the 4th Blast foul, 50 seconds left. Baltimore now with 7 6-attacker goals in the playoffs. Boy, when they've needed them, they've come.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time, it seemed.
Here's Fernandez over the head of Cacho. Hoskevy trying to work it up the wing, and he does. Cacho back to Ralph Black. Sockers have Karich and Hermes up front. Here's Fernandez up the wall for Hermes. Karich trying to hold it, and does, and tied up by Metric. Fifth foul blast. Boy, they don't want to take a penalty into overtime. There's 35 seconds left.
Right, Randy, got to go right at him. You've only got 2, and when was the last time the Sockers had a good offensive chance?
And now the foul goes the other way. Hermes pushing off of Fogarty. So that takes away, I think, that opportunity to draw another foul. 33 seconds left. Handball, but they don't call it on Byrne. Here's Fernandez. He's got Karich. At the left, the shot off the wall. Dougherty trailing, blocked by Byrne. Another drive, and that's blocked. All the bounces going Baltimore's way. Here's Dougherty with 16 seconds left in regulation. Cacho at center, drives a left footer. Dougherty on the rebound, trying to turn it for a shot. Cleared out by Metric. Here's Cacho in front, left footer, bouncing, trying to keep it going. 2 seconds left, and in front, Karich misses at the buzzer. And we go to overtime again.
The Blast got a break. A handball at midfield wasn't called, but you figured it had to be extremely flagrant if it was going to be.
Sudden death for the second straight night here in the championship series. Doesn't get any better. We'll be back with overtime on Prime Ticket after this. It's 4-4, the Sockers in Baltimore here in game 2 as we head to sudden death overtime. Now, while we have a moment here before the overtime, let's pause for a moment so that our stations along the network can identify themselves. Friday, join us for football Aussie style. It's Australian rules football coming your way from down under. Exclusive coverage begins at 9 right here on Prime Ticket, sports television at its best.
When Juan Hermes scored 12 seconds into the second half, you thought maybe San Diego had the game. They led 3-0, but Baltimore chipped away, and down by 2 goals in the fourth quarter. They came back to send it to the extra period. Here are the 2. Sweeney to Ronson out in front, and Ronson on the redirect at the 5:44 mark of the fourth quarter had Baltimore to within 1. And then with the 6th attacker on, David Byrne in the uniform, a fortunate goal for Baltimore, but give them credit. They were banging away on San Diego in the corner. Hoskevy chipped it. Freddie Thompson with the header off of Kevin Crowe in the celebration again for the Baltimore Blast. They tie it up at 4. That came late in the contest for Freddie Thompson. A big one, and we go to sudden death, tied at 4. And 2 times tonight, Randy, you thought San Diego had it won. At 3-0, and when Jungle scored to make it 4-2, you figured, hey, that's enough, that's it, but Baltimore came back.
What they've done here tonight and in this series, the Blast, is amazing. Can they win 2 in overtime? Well, the Sockers had the worst overtime record in the regular season at 2-10. They thought they had turned it around in the playoffs until last night. The Blast, on the other hand, had a tremendous regular season overtime record at 7-3, and they're perfect in the postseason.
1 against Wichita, 1 against San Diego.
And they'll have it from the kickoff as we're set to begin overtime. On the simulcast, Sockers defending the net to our right, attacking right to left. Ron Newman sends out Quinn, Wright, Crow, Hermes, and McAllis. For Baltimore, it's Sweeney, Byrne, Ronson, Metric, and Savage.
If somebody's going to rise up for San Diego, it may be Hermes. He's had a game tonight, 2 goals, and they need his big shot here in the OT.
Well, the Sockers win it from the kickoff, and here's Hermes with it. Back to Nogueira. Ironically, both tying goals have gone off Kevin Crowe. Last night it went off him up to Mobilio, who headed it in for the tie. Tonight it went directly in off Crowe. Quinn kicking at Manning at the loose ball. No foul on the play. Sweeney will get it away from McAllis and up the field. Here's Byrne. Ronson takes a dive after being shoved by Karich. Nogueira lobs it up to Karich. Byrne is right there. Here's Sweeney with Ronson. Sweeney shoots on the rebound. Ronson just ran by it. Here's Karich, tripped by Byrne in midfield, and they won't give the foul the other way either. They're letting it all go right now.
There are no whistles.
Here's Byrne with room on the right side. Savage on the overlap. Byrne faking, and now dropping it back for Hoskevy. We're a minute into OT. Baltimore on the attack. Ronson out of the corner. Quinn with a steal. He's got McAllis and Karich. Quinn to center. Quinn up for McAllis. Great ball. Gus shoots wide. Rebound, and Karich misses the tap in.
Savage is hurt.
Manning hammered by Carrot. Savage is down and injured for Baltimore. A whistle, and they'll attend to the Baltimore All-Star defender. It's his right ankle, and he is down to stay.
In a collision with McAllis. I'll tell you, Savage was motoring from the other end trying to catch Gus, who was streaking down the right side. It was a darn good ball to McAllis on the right side, but the best chance was off of the rebound. But Savage's, in his anxiety to get back, went down as he collided with Gus McAllis. And a great chance, Randy, for the Sockers right after that to end it early. But this is Bruce Savage down, who anchors the defense.
Savage obviously in some major discomfort down on the carpet just to the left of the Baltimore net. Blast trainer Alan Shancroft there.
And the way Essie Baharma signaled the trainer on, you knew that Savage was in quite a bit of pain.
They off, and they're not going to gamble at all walking on that ankle. We'll pause. We're in overtime. And back on the Blast bench, they're attending to Bruce Savage, their fine defender. In the meantime, the Sockers can't believe that possession is going to Baltimore. They felt there should have been a drop ball down there. But it is Blast ball deep in their own zone. And Manning's got it. Great chance for McAllis, and then Karich as it went through the crease. Here's Hoskevy having it blocked by Dougherty. It'll come back to Manning again. He tosses into Byrne. Freddie Thompson, who equalized this game with the late goal, back to Ralph Black, and he'll send it out of play.
Ralph Black, who earlier was involved in the shenanigans with Fogarty, later on had an assist. He's the tough guy in the back. First year in San Diego after many years in Tacoma. He was the original Tacoma Star, as they used to call him. Played in Denver, then went to Tacoma. He was a member of the Blast in the 1983 Championship Series against the Sockers, ironically enough. So a little bit of trivia on number 11.
He hasn't won a championship.
No.
Been in the finals twice. Here's Dougherty. Nice ball out of the midfield from Black. The pass back through the middle, and Troy will redirect it. Dougherty was hoping Black was the other side of the defender that time. Now Byrne gets deep on Fernandez. Thompson's front of the net. Dougherty trying to poke it away, but stayed away from the foul, and he does. Played out to right. Here's a setup for Hoskevy, and he roots it and beyond into the seats for San Diego goal kick. Kenny Cooper and the rest of the Blast contingent obviously exhausted, as the Sockers must be. 2 overtime games on back-to-back nights.
Well, it's a revenge-minded Baltimore team. They've seen enough of San Diego in the past. In fact, 10 members of the Blast, including the coaches, have lost to the Sockers in Championship Series. They've been with Baltimore, with Minnesota, and with Cleveland. And Ron Newman has put it to them all. And Baltimore trying to exorcise all the ghosts here in this series.
We're in sudden death overtime. We've played 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Seems like an eternity already. Ball up to Jungle. He'll head it on into the corner. Willie will get there. Bad carom off the boards, though, for the Sockers, and Mobilio's got it. To center for Ronson. 2-on-1 with Sweeney developing. But the Sockers quickly get back. Here's Sweeney at the point. Willie comes in, taken away by Fernandez, who pushes it to the front of the net. Now Cacho running out of the zone with it to midfield. Comes over to the right. Again, Cacho leads himself too far. Seen that earlier. Jungle, 1-on-2. Back for Jungle from Willie. That one just off the mark. Steve to the open net. They score! It's over. San Diego wins on a freaky goal.
What an unbelievable play by Jungle.
And the Sockers race to the locker room.
Oh, they stole one, Randy.
It's over. And San Diego has the home field advantage just out of nothing. Unbelievable.
That's just a great play by Jungle. He did it all by himself. The lead pass was too far, but Jungle never gave up, and he wins it for the Sox, and they're going home even.
Oh, my, that is one of the freakiest overtime winners we've witnessed. And we are even at a game each. And the way things were going, we thought we'd be talking about history repeating itself from 24 hours ago. The Sockers bolted off the field. In fact, only Dougherty, Hermes, and Willie are left. The rest of them shot into the locker room, which has to be an absolutely elated room right now. San Diego wins in overtime, 5-4. We're tied 1-1, and we'll be back after this. Elation a night ago. Tonight, dejection for the Baltimore fans as the San Diego Sockers steal one themselves. In overtime, they defeat the Baltimore Blast 5-4, and this best-of-7 1989 championship series is now even at a game each as we head back west to the sports arena. Recapping the scoring for the Baltimore Blast, some familiar names. Dominic Mobilio, who has dominated the playoff scoring, gets 2 in the third period at 1:46 and 9:53. Billy Ronson, a big comeback goal at 5:44. And then Freddie Thompson, his first in this series, 5th of the playoffs, to tie it. For the Sockers, Brian Quinn opens scoring. Juan Hermes with back-to-back goals in the second and third periods, respectively. Hermes is the leading playoff scorer on the team, tied with this man, Steve Jungle, who had the 3-13-10 goal in the third, and then the winner in overtime. And the Lord of all indoors is in our post-game studios with Bill McDonald. Gentlemen.
Just continues to amaze everybody, Steve Jungle does. Well, they took one from you last night, and they looked like they were going to do it again, but you stole it right back.
I just told the guys, to keep confident. And, hey, if we ask, to be for a tie game in going overtime, everybody would accept that. That means why? Just be brave, play your style of the soccer, and just go after them.
You had 2 goals tonight. Let's talk about the game winner. You started the end-to-end rush. You were all by yourself, it seemed. Nobody was with you, and you were looking around saying, where is everybody? All of a sudden, you found a pass, and then you went right to the goal.
I stole the ball in the middle, and I was looking some support, and I saw Alan on the side, and I expect the ball perfect to me, but was too wide. You see, I was yelling on him, but I saw the goalkeeper coming out, and I challenged him, and I got that rebound and just rolled the ball over, trying to get somebody and rolling into the net.
It certainly wasn't pretty. I'm still not sure how the ball went in. Where did you hit it off of your leg?
Just the perfect, I guess this was my touch. Too many years to be in this league, I got that final little touch.
All right, you're entitled to that. The Steve Jungle touch, you saw it right there, ladies and gentlemen. I was impressed with the goal that gave you a 4-2 lead. Great pass by Noguera, who came out gunning.
Was a great pass. I was one-on-one. I guess was a Troy defender, and I forced him to right on a goalkeeper. And when he was in a line with goalkeeper, I took the shot in the nearest corner, and was very hard for the goalkeeper to save the shot.
Now, what is going through your mind and your teammates' mind? Here it is last night. You have the game won, it seems, and they come back and they tie. Same scenario. You're going into overtime. What can you possibly be thinking?
I guess this series in Baltimore is going to give us some kind of lesson that next time when we are going to have that lead to the end of the game, that we shouldn't or call timeout or learn to not panic, kind of just being afraid of them and dropping back, making mistakes, don't play our soccer, and we have to try to avoid that, and hopefully next time when we got that lead, we're going to keep it. Okay, next time will be Friday night at home in game number 3. Not only will you have your fans on your side, but it appears as though Bronco will be back too. I hope my buddy is going to be back and he's healthy. He's working on the beach, as he promised me. And I wish him all the best, and definitely going to need him on that game. Steve, thanks for the visit. You did it again. Thank you very much. Steve Jungle, the hero, he gets the game winner, and for being with us, he will receive a gift certificate from Diamond Design. Take a look at the final stats in this contest as the Sockers win. Shots on goal, San Diego outshoots Baltimore 29-27. Blocks were pretty even, 10-12. Saves also even, 13 for Noguera, 12 for Scott Manning. Only one power play opportunity the Sockers could not convert, but they certainly converted when they needed to at the end in overtime. A Jungle from Willie, and the Sockers even this series at 1 apiece with a 5-4 win. Back with more in a moment.